Chapter 362. Find Sun Shiwu, retaliate tit for tat, take everything exactly as it is. _5. Little Yang, listen here, your good old brother has had an incredibly lousy life, meeting a damned whorish woman. Burp. One day, I'm gonna kill them all. Burp. Since they aren't letting me be, then I won't let them be either. Burp. Crash. The drink's glass falls to the ground, and Sun Shiwu collapses on the table, unconscious. Uncle Shi and Yang spoke softly. Only Sun Shiwa's snoring was heard in response. Uncle Shi and Yang gently pushed Sun Shiwu. Drink, I can still drink. Sun Shiwu slurred. Yang slightly raised her eyebrows, took out 100 yuan note from her pocket and placed it on the table, then turned and left. After leaving the back street, Yang made a round of the local noodle restaurant and milk tea shop. The businesses of the milk tea shop and the noodle restaurant were as booming as ever. She absolutely couldn't let Elder Mu and Mu Jinbao influence the business of her noodle restaurant and milk tea shop. Even if it did not cost much money, it still seemed exasperating. Yang narrowed her eyes. After leaving the noodle restaurant, Yang went to Xiaozi's detective agency. Xiaozhou was a detective, there's nothing he didn't know unless he didn't want to. About an hour later, Yang left the detective agency. On the other end, Li Shu, Mu Jinbao, and their group had already boarded a train. Perhaps the air inside the train was too stuffy. The moment Mu Yaozong got on the train, he began to cry incessantly. He made so much noise that none of the passengers in the carriage could sleep. Grandmother Mu cradled Mu Yaozong. Her whole demeanor was incredibly affectionate. Grandmother's good grandchild, don't cry. Once we get to Beijing, your grandmother will take you to live in a mansion, eat delicious food and drink spicy things. Let's just endure it for a bit longer. In the face of her golden grandson, Grandmother Mu could not help but present him the best things. Li Shu and Mu Jinbao were in the back seat, discussing how to run the businesses once they reached Beijing. The two even planned what kind of house to buy. After all, the Mu family was rich now, naturally, they couldn't live too poorly. Soon the day passed. When Sun Shiwu woke up again, it was already the next morning. When he saw 100 yuan on the table, his sleepy eyes instantly lit up. It was 100 yuan. With these 100 yuan, not only could he drink alcohol, but he could also buy cigarettes. Sun Shiwu quickly grabbed the 100 yuan and went out. He exited the back alley, ready to eat a good meal out. Recently there was a noodle restaurant that seemed to sell very delicious noodles at a not expensive price. Sun Shiwu wanted to try their noodles. Just as he walked to the entrance of the restaurant, he saw a familiar figure. Was this Yang? And all the customers referred to Yang as the boss. So Yang was the boss here? If Yang was the boss here, then she was really stingy. She made so much money every day, yet she only gave him 100. Did she think he was a beggar? Sun Shiwa's eyes flickered. Perhaps he could pull off a big one. Didn't Yang drink with him yesterday? This meant that Yang had lowered her guard against him. Suddenly, Sun Shiwu had a better plan in mind. Sun Shiwu didn't even eat the noodles. He took the money and went to a small illegally operated shop in the back alley and bought a rope, a hallucinogenic drug, a dagger, and a mask. Once the preparations were complete, Sun Shiwu had a good sleep at home, planning to invite Yang for a drink the next morning. Sun Shiwu didn't wake up until the next morning. Meanwhile, Li Shu, Mu Jinbao, and Grandma Mu had just descended the train with the golden child of the Mu family. All of them were visiting the city for the first time. As soon as they got off the train, they were amazed by Beijing's massive buildings. Li Shu exclaimed in surprise, "The city is so big, even larger than our village's cattle farm." Mu Jinbao said, "My God, that small car looks impressive." Grandmother Mu laughingly said, "Our family owns 4 stores now. We are surely making a lot of money. It's not a problem even if we want to buy a car, or even 10. Mother is right," Li Shu said, looking very pleased. Grandmother Mu continued, "Ah Shu, Beijing is so big, did your relative tell you where that slut Mu Yang opened our Mu family stores?" Beijing was huge, and as they were all unfamiliar with the area, they feared it would be difficult to find Yang. Chapter 363. Find Sun Shiwu, repay in kind, accept everything as listed. _6. We have no such worries. My relatives will come pick us up soon. Mum, you don't need to rush. Xianxia had everything arranged, and now they just had to wait here. That's good, Ashu, you always think ahead. Old Lady Mu nodded with relief. Yang knew that Xianxia must have arranged for someone to pick up Li Shu and the others this morning. So, he came early to the train station. From afar, he saw Li Shu and Old Lady Mu standing among the crowd. The child in Old Lady Mu's arms must be Li Shu's son. The child had a dull look in his eyes, obviously not a normal child. Yang subtly curved his lips, scanning the crowd, and finally noticed two figures looking around. Finally, he held up a large wooden sign with the three big characters, Mu Jin Bao, written on it. What a pity! No one in the Mu family could read. Yang slightly raised his brows, approached the two. Excuse me, comrades, are you here to pick up Mu Jin Bao and Li Shu? Yes. One of them nodded. Who are you? Yang smiled. My surname is Enai. You comrades can call me Xiaoni. Mu Jinbao and Li Shu have already been picked up by their daughter, Mu Yang. I've already spoken with comrade Li Xianxian. You two don't have to worry. The two narrowed their eyes warily. So, you really discussed this with Miss Li? Certainly. Yang laughed. Dear comrades, why would I lie to you? It's a shame you came here for nothing. By the way, here is the departure fare given by Mu Yang for you. The money's not much, you can use it to buy some cigarettes. With that, Yang handed out 2 large notes. Upon seeing the money, their eyes sparkled. The Qianmen cigarettes only cost 50 cents a pack. 10 yuan can buy 20 packs. That's quite generous. The two took the money and left without questioning Yang any further. Who would lie for 10 yuan anyway? It's not like they're stuffed. Seeing the two leave, Yang went to the public telephone booth, made a call and said, hello. The voice on the other end was a slightly hoarse male voice. If someone were on the scene, they'd find that this voice belonged to one of the 2 men who just left. The person on the other end of the phone didn't notice anything unusual. How's it going? Yang replied, rest assured, everything is well arranged. Upon hearing this, the heavy stone in Li Xianxian's heart finally landed. Since last night her right eyelid had been twitching nonstop. She thought something must go wrong. Apparently she was overthinking. After all, Yang couldn't predict the future. How could anything go wrong? After hanging up the phone, Li Xianxian poured herself a glass of red wine to celebrate. Now, she just had to calmly wait for Yang to be sold to the human traffickers. From then on, no one would stand in her way. She had also sent her work to the newspaper agency. Twin joys have come her way recently. The more Li Xianxian thought about it, the happier she became. After Sun Shiwu had prepared the meal and drinks, he locked the door and headed towards the noodle restaurant. From afar, he saw Yang rushing, as if she had run into some trouble. Yang, what's wrong? Why are you so flustered? Sun Shiwu acted concerned and approached her. Yang's face looked unpleasant. Uncle 15, it's good that you're here. I have something to tell you. Sun Shiwu said, what is it, Yang? As long as Uncle 15 can get it done, I won't hesitate even if I have to go through fire and water. Yang stuttered, seemingly unable to spit it out. Yang, what can't you say to Uncle 15? Sun Shiwu blinked and suggested, why don't you come to Uncle 15's house? We'll wine and dine, and have a chat. Okay. Yang nodded, followed Sun Shiwu to his house. Sun Shiwu warmly invited Yang to sit down. Yang was no fool, she could tell that Sun Shiwu's warmth had turned sour. Her eyes swept across the room, noticing the ropes in the corner and the dagger hidden under the bed. She understood everything. Like father, like daughter. Both Sun Shiwu and Li Xianxian were ungrateful wolves that could never be tamed. Yang, have a drink. Sun Shiwu poured a cup of wine for Yang. The intense aroma of wine filled the air, mixed with a slight odd smell. Seemingly, there's something wrong with this wine. Thank you, Uncle 15. Yang raised the cup, continuing, Uncle 15, I think I saw Aunt Ashu just now. Really? Sun Sherwu was so excited that he even dropped his cup. Where did you see her? Yes. And Yang nodded, looking a bit embarrassed. But, Uncle 15, you should prepare yourself, because Aunt Ashu seems to what? Yang, just say it. How should I say this? And Yang frowned, appearing at a loss for words. Yang, just say it. Sun Sherwu was getting anxious. And Yang let out a sigh and continued, Aunt Ashu has changed a lot. She was with a man, even holding a child in her arms. They were laughing and talking as if they are a family. That wretch? She dares to cuckold me. Sun Shiwa's anger instantly rose to its peak. And Yang hastily put down the cup, soothing, Maybe I saw it wrong, Uncle 15, don't rush to get angry. People tend to make mistakes when they are impulsive. Yang, Sun Sherwu slammed the table and jumped up, his eyes red with rage. Tell me where that wretch and her lover are now. Uncle 15, may I ask you a question? And Yang continued. Speak. And Yang went on. Have you and Aunt Ashu got a marriage certificate? In the rural areas of the 80s, men and women typically marry with a banquet. Few have marriage certificates. Sun Sherwu shook his head. No. And Yang frowned slightly. If there was a marriage certificate, your relationship with Aunt Ashu would be legally protected. If she really messes around, she'd be severely punished by law. If not, it would be hard to deal with. If this gets out, you'd be at a disadvantage. From her appearance, it seems like she has already obtained a marriage certificate with that man, otherwise she wouldn't be on a train. A train station, huh? I'll go find that wretch and her man. Sun Sherwu stormed out. Chapter 364 Sun Shiwa's Revenge, Second Update, _1, Uncle 15. And Yang caught up with Sun Shiwa's pace. You need to calm down. Having been cuckolded, how could Sun Sherwu calm down now? I'm going to kill those adulterous bastards right now. And Yang tried to dissuade him. Uncle 15, killing is illegal. You mustn't do anything stupid. Sun Sherwu replied without turning his head, worst case, we each die. After 18 years, I'll be a new man again. And Yang stood there, watching Sun Shiwa's retreating figure. A faint curve danced at the corner of her lips, her dimples slightly visible. The warm yellow sunlight seemed to drape a mysterious veil over her. Evil grinds itself. Let Sun Sherwu and the despicable people from the Mu family rip each other apart. That's just perfect. Next, she simply needs to watch the dog fight from afar. This show definitely wouldn't disappoint her. Train station. It was already past 10 in the morning. The old lady from the Mu family was waiting anxiously, growing more and more impatient. Ashu, when will your relatives arrive? Li Shu was also quite anxious. Perhaps they have been delayed, mother, let's wait a bit more. Mu Jinbao suggested. There's a phone booth across the street. Ashu, why don't you give them a call? Li Shu wanted to call Li Xianxia, but she didn't have her number. My relative doesn't have a telephone at home. She always contacts me from a public phone. Mu Jinbao frowned. What should we do then? We can't just keep waiting. Continuing to wait indeed wasn't a solution. Li Shu thought for a moment, then said, why don't we settle down in a guest house for now? Madame Mu slightly frowned. We're already home. Why waste the money? Let's wait a bit more. Li Shu laughed. Mother, have you forgotten we're a family of 10,000 yuan now? Besides, Yaozong is tired. It doesn't matter if we adults suffer a bit more, we can't make the child suffer. Concerning her great-grandson, the old lady from the Mu family nodded. Then let's find a guest house. When Sun Sherwu got to the station, the four of the Mu family were just crossing the street towards him. They were all talking and laughing, presenting quite a warm picture. This scene deeply stung Sun Sherwu. His face turned the color of pig's liver in an instant. A sense of humiliation enveloped his heart. That damned woman. She really had a bastard child with someone else. Shameful. So shameful. She's thoroughly discredited the Sun family. Today, he was going to rid the Sun family of this disgrace. If he didn't avenge this marital affair, what kind of man would he be? Sun Sherwu turned around and entered a nearby shop. When he came out again, he had a kitchen knife in his hand. He was going to kill the four of them. Only that could wash away his hatred. At the crucial moment, he suddenly calmed down. It was daytime and a crowded public space. Even if he did succeed, the police would catch him immediately. If he did succeed, that'd be something. His life for 4 lives would be worth it. But if he didn't succeed and the police arrested him, wouldn't that be doing the adulterous couple a favor? No good. He couldn't take that risk. He had to send all 4 of them to hell. So he had to plan carefully and make sure there were no slip-ups. Sun Shiwu squinted his eyes and quietly followed the 4 of them. Li Shu was a very alert person. She felt as if someone was following them from behind, but when she turned around to look, there were only ordinary pedestrians. "Ashu, what are you looking at?" Mu Jinbao asked curiously. "Jinbao, mother, do you feel like someone is following us?" "No." Mu Jinbao shook his head. The old lady of the Mu family became frightened and held her great-grandson tighter, looking around. "Is there a child trafficker trying to kidnap Yaozong?" "That's possible," Li Shu answered cautiously. "There's a guest house ahead, let's hurry in." "All right." The 3 people quickened their pace and entered the guest house ahead. When they got inside the guest house, Li Shu still felt uneasy, so she turned around to look outside again. Sun Shiwu quickly hid behind a tree. Li Shu squinted her eyes, puzzled. Was it just her overthinking? Li Shu turned around, and 3 seconds later, she quickly looked back again. There was still no one outside. Perhaps she was really overthinking. Only then did Li Shu walk inside feeling reassured. To prevent Li Shu from suddenly looking back again, Sun Shiwu hid behind the tree for more than half an hour before he stepped out. "You cheap slut." Sun Shiwu spat on the ground. "See how it'll kill you all this time." Sun Shiwu carefully examined the terrain around the guest house and confirmed Li Shu's room before returning to the alley in the back street. When he returned to the alley, Yang had already left. Sun Shiwu saw the food and drink on the table, and only then did he remember his original plan. Since he had decided to go for a big score, he might as well go all the way. The saying goes, fortune favors the brave. First, get rid of that slut Li Shu, then find a way to get money from Yang, and finally disappear. If Yang didn't cooperate, he would kill her too. After all, killing 4 or 5, it's all the same. At this point, what does he have to fear? Thinking of this, Sun Shiwu went to the shop again and bought some other stuff. Night fell, and all was quiet around. A figure emerged from the alley, seamlessly blending into the darkness. Chapter 365. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _1. The darkness is the best camouflage. It can also conceal all sins. All the unbearable, grimy aspects, all happen in the darkness of night. The night is even more dense tonight. There isn't even a single star in the night sky. The guest house. Li Shu sat on the edge of the bed, uneasily said, "I don't know what's wrong today. My right eyelid has been twitching incessantly." Mrs. Mu laughed. "A twitch in the morning signifies disaster, at noon wealth, in the evening ingots rolling in. This is a good omen. It means our family's days will get better and better." Their family was now well off. In the future the money would generate more money, maybe they could even become the richest or something. The more Mrs. Mu thought about it, the happier she became. A good thing? A mocking look emerged in the eyes of Sun Shiwu, who was hiding behind the window. Soon their entire family was going to hell. In a certain sense, this was indeed a good thing. Li Shu nodded. "Mom, you're right." Mu Jinbao put his arm around Li Shu's shoulder. "Of course, can what our mom says be wrong?" Listening to the conversation coming from inside the room, Sun Shiwu clenched his teeth tight. His entire body was trembling. "Bitch!" But he didn't rashly burst in from the window. Instead he waited until the lights in the room went out and confirmed that everyone inside was asleep. Only then did he openly arrive at the front desk of the guest house. It's past 2 a.m. The prime time for sleep. The old man at the front desk was snoring loudly with his head down on the table. "Old man." Sun Shiwu gently pulled open the drawer and spoke at the same time. The old man was sleeping soundly and didn't respond at all. Sun Shiwu then felt at ease. He pulled open another drawer and took out a large bunch of keys. Sun Shiwu found the key he needed, put the rest of the keys back and then swaggered inside. Li Shu and the others were staying in a double room, located on the first floor of the guest house. Sun Shiwu carefully opened the door with the key, took off his shoes at the door, and quietly went in. Using the dim light, Sun Shiwu first went to Li Shu's bedside, took out a white towel from his bag, and covered her mouth and nose. This towel had been soaked in high-grade ether. Only a dozen seconds were needed in the sleep to make her fall unconscious. After dealing with Li Shu, Mu Jinbao was next, then Mrs. Mu, and finally the child. Only after ensuring that all 4 persons in the room were unconscious, did Sun Shiwu switch on the light in the room. With a snap, a dazzling white light lit up in the air, and everything in the room was revealed. Sun Shiwu took several ropes out of his bag, tied the 3 adults together, sealed their mouths round and round with tape. After confirming that there were no problems, he fetched a basin of cold water from the bathroom and splashed it ruthlessly on their faces. The 3 dazedly woke up. The 3 didn't know what was happening and could only struggle unconsciously. Bitch! Only when a cold voice came from above their heads did they lift their heads to look. With one glance, Li Shu was stunned. This is Sun Shiwu? How did Sun Shiwu find this place? Fear gradually took over Li Shu's eyes, and wave after wave of cold sweat broke out on her back. She never dreamt that Sun Shiwu, this bastard, would find this place. Well, looking at Sun Shiwu's current state, he doesn't look as if he would let this go easily. Did Li Xianxia know Sun Shiwu came to Beijing? Bitch! You dare to cuckold me! Sun Shiwu grabbed Li Shu's hair in one hand and pulled out a sharp kitchen knife from his bag. The light reflected a glaring, cold light. Having been a couple with Sun Shiwu, she knew this beast was capable of anything. Li Shu wanted to cry out for help, but her mouth was sealed with tape and she couldn't make any sounds. Rest assured, I won't let you die easy. Sun Shiwu grabbed Li Shu's hair and fiercely smashed her head against the wall. Bitch! Traitor! You dared to betray me! Betray me and even had a bastard! Li Shu's head was spinning from the impact, the pain unbearable. In just a moment, there was the smell of thick, freshly spilled blood in the air. Mrs. Mu and Mu Jinbao weren't fools either. Now at this time, naturally, they could guess who Sun Shiwu was. Mrs. Mu wished she could kill Li Shu right now. This damn whore. She had a man on the outside, but still lied to them and said she was a chaste lady. Chapter 366. The Crazy Sun Shiwu, Greatly Abusing Top-Quality Relatives, The Big Boss is Back _2. Well now, what about her precious grandchild? Her newly embraced grandchild, they had just become wealthy. She didn't want to die. She was waiting to enjoy her fortune. If she died, wouldn't all the money and shops in her family just go to Ni Tsuehua and that outsider man she was with? This is Mu family's money. How could it benefit outsiders? She couldn't die. Even if she died, she would drag Ni Tsuehua and her daughter down with her. If she couldn't live a good life, she wouldn't let them either. The old lady Mu frantically signaled to Sun Shiwu, hoping Sun Shiwu would spare them. After all, it was Li Shu who had wronged Sun Shiwu. Their family had been kept in the dark too. They were victims. As long as Sun Shiwu spared her, she could give him a lot of money. Unfortunately, Sun Shiwu didn't read minds. He turned to old lady Mu. Old hag, you're in such a hurry to die, huh? Sun Shiwu let go of Li Shu's hair and instead grabbed old lady Mu's hair. How dare your son cuckold me? They'll make sure you don't know what's coming. Fear filled old lady Mu's eyes. Please let her go. As long as Sun Shiwu let her go, she was willing to pay any price. As the saying goes, the daughter pays the father's debts. She wanted to tell Sun Shiwu. She had a beautiful granddaughter. She could marry her granddaughter off to Sun Shiwu. After all, Ni Yang was better looking than Li Shu. She was serious. As long as Sun Shiwu let her go, she would forgive and forget, and let Ni Yang pay the debt. After all, that little wretch would have to get married someday. If Ni Yang wasn't enough, they could add Ni Tsuehua. If Sun Shiwu still felt unappeased, he could kill Ni Yang and Ni Tsuehua. But Sun Shiwu didn't give her the chance to speak. All of a sudden, old lady Mu became anxious and scared. her face full of old tears. She had never been this scared in her life. Sun Shiwu made his move. Blood splattered everywhere. Old Lady Mu, in the midst of planning to use Ni Yang and Ni Zuehua to pay off her debt, fell down in a pool of blood. Murder. 2 murders. Li Shu and Mu Jinbao were ordinary people. When had they seen such a scene? A strong smell of urine filled the air. Sun Shiwu looked down to see that it was Mu Jinbao who was so scared he had wet himself. Not only urinated, even defecated. The odor was nauseating. Sun Shiwu held the bloody knife and lightly patted Li Shu's face with it. "You've chosen such a coward?" Li Shu's eyes were wide open, as if her eyeballs were about to pop out. Her expression was filled with terror. She began to regret. She shouldn't have come to Beijing. Li Shu struggled constantly. "Or, this time next year will be your deathversary." A thin silhouette appeared by a public telephone booth. She dialed 3 numbers, and the call was quickly answered. "Hello, this is the Beijing Public Security Bureau." Hearing this, Ni Yang's cold expression vanished, replaced with a layer of fear. The hoarse male voice on the phone was filled with heavy crying. "Pu Public Security Bureau. Yaoyaosi Guest House, Room 104. There's a murder." Sun Shiwu wasn't a good man either. Of course Ni Yang wouldn't let him get off scot-free. Moreover, now that Sun Shiwu had already started killing, even if he couldn't do anything to her, Ni Yang still had to consider for her family's mother and sister. She couldn't let other loved ones be threatened with their lives. As for Li Xianxia, Ni Yang had other plans. After all, Li Xianxia had been scheming for so long. Ni Yang certainly intended to let her experience the feeling of standing on top of clouds. Then let her fall from the clouds. After all, the higher one stood, the harder they fell. "Don't be afraid, comrade. We're coming right now." Ni Yang hung up the phone, a faint smile playing on her lips. The righteous wail of a police siren shattered the quiet night. When the police broke through the door, Sun Shiwu was in the bathroom, dealing with the bodies. Upon seeing the police, Sun Shiwu's face turned white and his blood ran cold. At this moment, he knew he was done for. His life was over. Clang! The blood-soaked cleaver fell to the ground, making a piercing sound. "Don't move!" Several officers pinned Sun Shiwu down. The news of the murder at Yaosi Guest House was buzzing by the next day. Chapter 367. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _3. It just had to be a murder case involving complete family annihilation. Every single one of them, young or old, was gone. There was no one left to contact to identify the bodies. Thankfully, the suspect was apprehended in time. Li Xianxia jerked awake from her nightmare. She had had a very, very terrifying dream. In her dream, Li Shu, covered in blood, was staring at her. She didn't say anything, but her gaze was all the more chilling for it. That cold went clear to her bones. Even thinking about it now, it sent a shiver of horror down her spine. She felt the sunlight streaming in through the window. Some of Li Xianxian's calm returned. She got dressed, got out of bed and went to eat in the cafeteria. Everyone in the cafeteria was buzzing about the horrifying murder of an entire family the night before. The 2 people seated next to Li Xianxia were whispering about it. Li Xianxia could hear them clearly due to their proximity. The girl with long hair said, "Xiaofei, did you hear? Someone died over at Yaohai Guest House yesterday." Xiaofei exclaimed in surprise, "Really? Is there any doubt?" said the girl with long hair. "The news is all over town. Didn't you see our entire campus discussing it today?" Xiaofei followed up with, "Who were the ones that died?" "They say an entire family of 4 died. The youngest was merely a few months old. The oldest was a woman in her 70s, and there were 2 that were slightly young." At this point, Li Xianxia furrowed her brows. Coupled with the dream she had just woken up from, she had a sinking feeling in her heart. Could it be that the 4 people being discussed were Li Shu and the others? Probably not. Li Shu and the others had just arrived in Beijing, and they had no enemies. Moreover, they were currently with Ni Yang. Li Xianxia was already in touch with organ traffickers. As soon as Li Shu's affairs were settled, the traffickers would take Yang away. With these thoughts, Li Xianxian felt somewhat relieved. She picked up a piece of green vegetable and put it in her mouth. Oh my God! Xiaofei was finding this hard to digest. Isn't this too horrifying? You're telling me, sighed the long-haired girl, the murderer is a totally cruel person, right? To think they would wipe out an entire family over some grudge or hatred. Xiaofei couldn't even eat anymore. Has the police found out who did it yet? If this keeps up, who would dare to stay at a guest house? The long-haired girl replied, I heard the suspect's name is something like Sun Shiwu. I'm not too sure though. Sun Shiwu? Even though Li Xianxian didn't want to remember this name, she couldn't help but do so. She couldn't forget that father who was as evil as a devil. By rights, Sun Shiwu should be dead. When Li Xianxian left the Sun family with Li Shu, she had specifically lit a pot of coal and closed all the doors and windows in the house. How could he not have died from carbon dioxide poisoning? What on earth was going on? If the murderer was confirmed to be Sun Shiwu, then those who were killed were definitely Li Shu and the others. But how on earth had Sun Shiwu tracked down Li Shu? Li Xianxian's chopsticks clattered to the tabletop. All color drained from her pale face. If Li Shu was dead, so what? She had no connection to the Mu family, but if all of Mu family was gone, who else would keep Yang in check? Xianxian, what's wrong? You look really pale? Noting that something was off with Li Xianxian, Xiaofei turned to look at her. Nothing, Li Xianxian managed to squeeze out a smile. I'm just a bit lightheaded, maybe because I was up all night writing. Even at a time like this, Li Xianxian didn't forget to keep up her image as a hard-working writer. Xiaofei said, Xianxian, you're already so talented and yet you still work so hard, how do you expect the rest of us to live? Exactly, the long-haired girl agreed. Li Xianxian laughed. Have you guys heard of this saying? What saying? Xiaofei asked. Li Xianxian continued. It's something I came up with when I was down on my luck. Don't laugh when you hear it. Okay, both of them nodded, very curious as to what wisdom Li Xianxian had distilled from her misfortune. After all, Li Xianxian was famously talented in their entire school. Anything she said was sure to be thought-provoking. Li Xianxian said slowly, weighing each word carefully, children without umbrellas must run harder. I am different from you. I have no parents, no family, no backing. The only one I can rely on is myself. Therefore, I have to work harder, because only through hard work can I lead a better life. Chapter 368. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _4. The child with no umbrella should try their best to run. This phrase may seem ordinary, but when you look into it, you can find it filled with life's philosophy. Very motivating. Li Xianxian indeed deserves to be a talented girl. Xiaofei and the long-haired girls admired, saying, Wow Xianxian, you are so amazing. If you become a famous writer in the future, don't forget to give your old classmates a hand. Remember us when you're rich and successful. Li Xianxian replied softly, I'll rely on your good words. I'll work hard. I'm almost done eating, I'll go first, you guys take your time. After speaking, Li Xianxian picked up her plate and left. Li Xianxian, being an orphan now, found it inconvenient to verify at the police station, therefore she could only go to Yang's noodle restaurant. If Li Shu and others hadn't died, they would surely show up at the noodle restaurant. Despite the situation, Li Xianxian still held a glimmer of hope. After all, the Mu family were the last bargaining chip she had. She hoped to see Li Shu and the Mu family at the noodle restaurant. God bless. Li Xianxian clasped her hands together. When Li Xianxian arrived at the noodle restaurant, she just saw the cute diners and employees, but no one else. Thus, Li Xianxian went to the second noodle restaurant. Here, she saw Yang taking orders from customers. There was an old lady with white hair sitting in front of Yang. The old lady looked at Yang, her face almost breaking into a bloom. Who's this? Lady Shangguan? Yang is really getting better and better. She managed to get in touch with the powerful Shangguan family so quickly. No wonder. Yang could not possibly have opened up 4 shops in such a short time. Turns out she had so many helpers. She has been in business for so long and has only made a connection with the Mo family. She wondered what special means Ni Yang had used. Disgusting. Also, she didn't see Li Shu and the Mu family here. Could it be that it was indeed Li Shu who died last night? Li Xianxia glared at Ni Yang, wishing she could bore 2 holes through her. Just then Ni Yang, who was talking to the old lady, suddenly turned her head and locked eyes with Li Xianxia, her lips curving up slightly at a painfully slow pace. She was clearly smiling, yet Li Xianxia felt no warmth from it. Instead, it sent chills down her spine. Li Xianxia nervously avoided Ni Yang's gaze and left the noodle restaurant hastily. Walking down the bustling street, Li Xianxia gradually regained her composure. What was with Ni Yang's gaze just now? Could it be that Ni Yang also returned from the past? If that's the case, then it will be troublesome. But Ni Yang's certain actions weren't quite alike someone who returned from the past. If Ni Yang really returned from the past, she shouldn't be so low-key. As far as she knew, the Ni Yang of the past was a graduate from a prestigious university. A graduate from a prestigious university would undoubtedly have extensive knowledge and reading volumes. All she needs to do is reference famous people or inventions to become famous in Beijing. Why would she need to work so hard to run a noodle restaurant and sell milk tea? It doesn't make sense at all. Regardless of whether Ni Yang returned from the past, she is a very difficult person to deal with. The death of Li Shu and the Mu family members disrupted all of Li Xianxian's plans. She felt all disoriented and it was unbearable. She didn't know what to do. This was the biggest predicament Li Xianxia had ever encountered in so many years. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. During this month, Li Xianxia made great achievements in the literary field. She was now a successful writer. Even internationally renowned masters praised her work by name. This honor isn't something that just anyone can have. Wherever she went now, Li Xianxia was greeted with smiles and became the talk among all the teachers and students. However, Li Xianxia was wary about being complacent. Over this month, she was secretly investigating Ni Yang. Now that there was no one from the Mu family to restrain Ni Yang, she could only rely on herself. Ni Yang has already started planning for the second physical store of Bingjiyufu. The second storefront will definitely be located in a large mall too. First, because of the high foot traffic, and second, because those who can afford to shop in large malls are always financially well off. Ni Yang is a businesswoman, her first consideration is always benefits. With Bingjiyufu's good reputation and high sales, and thanks to Zhou Hua putting in a good word, Ni Yang was not worried about not being able to rent a shop. While eating dinner, Ni Chingge handed Ni Yang a document. Yang, this is what Sister Zhou Hua asked me to give you. Have a look at which mall you want to open your branch store in. Chapter 369. The crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _5. All right. Ni Yang agreed. After flipping through some documents, she continued, well, open it at Phoenix Mall. By the way, Auntie and I, go to the store tomorrow and tell the 3 young girls that whoever can reach a performance of over 30,000 next month, without being late or leaving early, that person can become the store manager of the new store. Although Ni Yang herself was a young girl, she didn't find it inappropriate when she referred to young girls. It's as though she were a battle-hardened figure of authority. Ni Chingye paused. All right, I'll go tell them tomorrow. In a team, competition brings pressure, and pressure brings performance. Moreover, the new store indeed needs an experienced and capable employee to maintain it. By doing so, it boosts overall performance and stimulates the employee's ambition. 2 birds with 1 stone, why not do it? Ni Yang gave a slight smile. Andy and I, you've been working hard lately. Ni Chingui laughed and said, it's not hard at all. It's much easier than when I used to work at the car company. Not to mention I got to meet many more people. Even someone from an unreachable upper-class society. Enriching her knowledge and experience. Ni Chingure really enjoyed this job. In addition, she had a hunch that Ni Yang's business would become increasingly successful, and one day, the image of individual business owners would be transformed in people's hearts. Country. A tall and straight figure was walking on the exotic streets filled with foreign charm. Behind him were 6 or 7 blonde blue-eyed country bodyguards. The passing pedestrians all glanced in his direction. Oh God! He's just perfect! Which country is he from? Judging from his attire and looks, he seems to be Chinese. Chinese men are really handsome. Some young ladies were about to scream. The women abroad were much more open-minded, and some bold ladies that initiated contact were politely rejected by the bodyguards. The man stopped in front of a transparent window. On display was a beige high-grade silk cheongsam, beautifully embroidered, with peonies blooming in the wind that appeared charmingly attractive. At a glimpse, it was elegant and reserved, simple yet dignified. The peony is the king of flowers and not everyone can carry it off. A slight misstep might even backfire. Although the cheongsam looked very nice, no one actually dared to buy it. Because it was too lavish. Yang would look good in this cheongsam. The man murmured. An image of her wearing the cheongsam even came to mind. He headed to the cheongsam store. After a few steps, the man looked back to his bodyguards and said, "I'll go in, you guys wait out here." Yes. Several bodyguards immediately halted and waited respectfully outside the door. The store owner was a 20-something Chinese lady, dressed in a light-colored cheongsam that outlined her perfect figure. Her cheongsam had delicate black edges, and she seemed like a quiet and beautiful lily. A beautiful jade in a humble home. Seeing a customer entered, she immediately welcomed him in. Hello. It was a handsome young man. She couldn't help but look at him multiple times. Moreover, she felt as though there was something familiar about this man's eyes, as if she had seen him somewhere before. Without hesitation, the man walked up to the cheongsam. Please pack this cheongsam for me. All right. The store owner nodded and took down the cheongsam from the mannequin. And these shoes as well. He pointed to a pair of black high heels. Yang would definitely look good in these black high heels. With that thought, a slight curl formed at the corner of his mouth. The frigid man suddenly smiled, looking as if the ice and snow were melting, bringing life back to the earth. The owner was taken aback for a moment, then agreed, "All right, please wait a moment." The man looked around the shop and pointed to a delicate lady's handbag. "Pack that bag for me too." Next, his gaze fell on a teddy bear that the mannequin was holding. This bear was so cute. If he gave it to Yang, she would definitely love it. "Please pack that little bear as well," he pointed at the bear. The owner apologetically said, "I'm sorry, but this Winnie bear is not for sale." Chapter 370, The Crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _6. Not for sale? Yes. The shop owner nodded. The man continued, "Name your price." "I'm sorry, but this really isn't for sale." She had seen plenty of men like him who tried to gain her attention by flashing money. The shop owner steadfastly replied, "I'm sorry, sir, no matter how much you offer, I won't sell it." At these words, the man lowered his gaze to look at the shop owner. Only then did he notice that the shop owner was also wearing a cheongsam. However, although she was wearing a cheongsam, she didn't look as good as Yang. Lacking that certain aura, her face didn't match, nor did her figure. Something was off about her. For the first time, the man realized there could be such a huge gap between individuals. Feeling the man's gaze on her, the shop owner's heart rate quickened, and a faint blush spread across her cheeks. While she did have her fair share of suitors, she had never felt this strange sensation before. She thought she might have fallen in love at the first sight. The man casually withdrew his gaze, then helped me wrap up the other items. All the items were packed by the shop owner, who then looked up at the man and suddenly asked in Chinese, "Are you Chinese?" "Yes." The man nodded. The shop owner continued, "Is your last name Mo?" Before the man could respond, the shop owner quickly asked, "Are you Mo Chishan?" Seeing her recognition, Mo turned to her with a quiet sigh, "And you are?" The shop owner laughed, "I'm Jiro, the girl who sat behind you in the 3rd grade. Don't you remember me?" Mo shook his head. Jiro went on, "That's all right if you don't remember, as long as you do now. I didn't expect to see you in F country. Are you working here now?" Instead of directly answering her question, Mo said, I have other matters to attend to, I need to be going. Hey, wait a second. Ji-ro called out to Mo's retreating figure, running over to grab the teddy bear from the mannequin. Didn't you want this teddy bear? It's yours. Thanks, but I can't accept it. Mo politely declined. Accepting a gift given by another woman to give to Yang. What does that make him? Yang might not mind, but he would. Besides Yang, Mo didn't want to accept gifts from any other woman, nor become entangled with them. Take it, didn't you want to buy this teddy bear? Mo directly said, I'm sorry, I don't want my girlfriend to misunderstand. Ji-ro was surprised. You have a girlfriend? Yes. Mo replied lightly. Ji-ro continued, I bet she must be very pretty. Without any hesitation, Mo said, she is indeed very beautiful. Ji-ro nodded, a flicker of light flashing in her eyes. I wish you two a long-lasting relationship and hope you get married soon. Thank you. After expressing his gratitude, Mo left the Cheongsam store carrying his purchases. Watching Mo's figure disappear down the street, Ji-ro finally turned around and headed to the counter to make a phone call. Hello, Lanlan, I need to ask you something. What is it, Ji-ro? I promise, I'll tell you everything I know. A crisp female voice came from the other end. Ji-ro continued, do you remember Mo Chishan? Yes. Zhao Lan replied, I saw him during the new year. Ji-ro, why are you asking about that loser? Loser? Ji-ro frowned slightly. Why was Mo Chishan a loser? Zhao Lan laughed. Ji-ro, you've been overseas for years, it's understandable that you don't know about some things. Let me tell you, Mo Chishan is not the same person he used to be. Zhao explained to Ji all the changes Mo had undergone over the years. Upon hearing this, Ji-ro didn't seem too surprised. A loser? How could Mo Chishan be a loser? Would a loser have 7 or 8 bodyguards with him when he went out? Would a loser be fluent in the language of F country? Ji-ro continued, does Mo Chishan have a girlfriend back in China? Zhao Lan replied, you know Zhao Jingrong, right? Yes. Ji-ro thought for a moment. She was studying abroad, wasn't she? Zhao Lan said excitedly, she's already returned home not long ago, and let me tell you something, Zhao Jingrong is Mo Chishan's fiancé. Zhao Jingrong? Ji-ro squinted her eyes. No wonder Mo said that his girlfriend was very pretty. From what she remembered, Zhao Jingrong was indeed beautiful, a woman who could stand her ground against her. Zhao Lan continued, however, Zhao Jingrong is no longer Mo Chishan's fiancé. Chapter 371, The Crazy Sun Shiwu greatly abuses his top-quality relatives. The boss is back _7, what did she say? Zhao Lan chuckled and said, what else can she say? She just simply didn't think highly of Mo Chishan. Think about it, Mo Chishan didn't even graduate from a regular high school, yet Zhao Jingrong is a talented student who returned from studying abroad. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that Mo Chishan is not good enough for Zhao Jingrong. In addition, I also heard that Zhao Jingrong has vowed to marry no one but Mr. Mog in this life. Upon hearing that Mo Chishan and Zhao Jingrong had called off their engagement, Ji-ro let out a sigh of relief. She continued, isn't Mr. Mog quite mysterious? Has Zhao Jingrong ever met him in person? I wouldn't know about that. After chatting with Zhao Lan for a while, Ji-ro hung up the phone. This phone call had given her a new understanding of Mo Chishan. Awesa? Ji-ro curled her lips. Zhao Jingrong is probably going to regret it this time. She saw it clearly that those bodyguards following Mo Chishan were all from the F country. There really aren't many Chinese people in F country who have such a large influence. Moreover, Ji-ro has also done some research on the mysterious Mr. Mog. She knows that Mr. Mog made his fortunes in F country. Mr. Mog's headquarters are also based in F country. You don't have to think to know that Mo Chishan is hiding a big secret. She thinks that she can take a gamble on it. Success or die trying. She has been holding on alone in F country for so many years just for Mr. Mog, hasn't she? She is already 29 years old now. If she waits any longer, her prime years will be over. Therefore, she must take this gamble. Moreover, she feels that Xianxia is also somewhat interested in her. Otherwise, why would a grown man come to a Cheongsam store to buy clothes? He must have said he already had a girlfriend as an excuse to come to the women's clothing store to catch her attention. However, she didn't see Xianxia for the next 3 days. He seemed to just disappear all of a sudden. Jiro then made another phone call to China. After receiving the news that Xianxia had returned to the country, Wu Daming immediately went to Jinghua village. The location for the second ice skin jade flesh had already been chosen, and they were already renovating the shop, so Ni Yang had been busy with things at home. It was already a particular month now, the house was almost finished, and they could start putting up the beams at the beginning of the month. The roses they had planted by the wall had already sprouted new buds, now they were slowly climbing up the wall. In not so long, the green vine will spread over the whole wall, turning into a beautiful rose wall. When Wu Daming arrived, Ni Yang was watering the roses in the corner of the wall. Sister-in-law. Wu Daming ran up to Ni Yang. What's up? What's so urgent? Ni Yang looked up slightly. Wu Daming continued, Sister-in-law, didn't you ask last time when Brother Six was coming back? Let me tell you some good news, he is on the 3 p.m. flight today. Would you like to come with me to pick him up? Ni Yang was surprised. Really? All in all, she hasn't seen that jerk for 3 months now. Of course it's true. Wu Daming nodded. Sister-in-law, do you want to go with me to the airport? Sure. Ni Yang smiled. I'm going to give Brother Mo a surprise. When should we leave? We should leave now, it's just 2 hours until 3 o'clock. Okay, then wait for me. I'll go inside and change my clothes. If she was going to pick up her boyfriend, there should be some sense of ceremony. Ni Yang didn't want to meet Xianxia looking all dirty and messy. She had gotten a bit of mud on her while watering the flowers. And because she wasn't planning to go out this morning, she didn't even bother brushing her hair properly. Okay. Wu Daming nodded. Ni Yang took the bucket and went into the house. It wasn't long before she came out looking neat and tidy. Wu Daming incredulously looked down at his wristwatch. It had not been more than 10 minutes since Ni Yang went inside, and she had already changed clothes and did her hair in less than 9 minutes. This speed was too quick. Wu Daming thought he was in for a long wait. Let's get going. Okay. The two walked to the village entrance and got into a car. About an hour later, they arrived at the airport. By this point, Beijing's airport had modernized significantly with a crowd of people waiting at the exit to pick up passengers. Ni Yang was also standing among the diverse crowd. Wu Daming positioned himself behind her to prevent any opportunist from taking advantage of the crowded situation. Immediately upon deplaning, Xianxia spotted a familiar figure in the crowd. He must have gone mad. Maddeningly longing for his wife. Why would Yang be at the airport? Xianxia rubbed his eyes in disbelief, then opened them again, but the scene before him remained the same. It's really his wife. Seeing the person he'd been pining for, Xianxia momentarily forgot about everything else, walked straight over to Ni Yang, and pulled her into a hug. Holding her in his arms and feeling her warmth, Xianxia felt a sense of reality. So, he hadn't been dreaming. Yang, I missed you so much. He deeply inhaled the refreshing scent of her hair. Ni Yang wrapped her arms tighter around the dog of a man. Brother Mo, I've missed you too. Upon hearing her words, Xianxia hugged her even tighter. If it weren't for the fact they were at the airport, he'd have probably picked her up, kissed her, and swung her around in joy. Single dog Wu Daming at the side. Is it really okay for you two to just ignore my existence like this? Upon seeing Xianxia refusing to let her go, Ni Yang pushed him away slightly. Brother Mo, we should head back. Oh. Xianxia reluctantly let go of her. Wu Daming extended his hand to take Xianxia's luggage off his hands. Xianxia looked at Wu Daming with distaste. Daming, how come you're here? Wu Daming, so this is the said brotherly love forgotten once the wife comes, huh? Ni Yang laughed and said, Wu Daming gave me a ride here. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have known that you were coming back today. Xianxia nodded and said, Oh, I see. Thank you for your trouble, Daming. Wu Daming, pretends not to hear the offhand thanks. The three walked out of the airport and got into a car. With Wu Daming driving the car, Ni Yang and Mo Qishan took the back seat. Where to go now? Should he drop Ni Yang off first or Mo Qishan? For the moment, Wu Daming was at a loss. It seemed like Ni Yang could tell what was going through Wu Daming's mind and said, "Why don't we drop Brother Mo off first? He must be tired after the long flight." Mo Qishan said, "I'm not tired at all. Let's take your sister-in-law home first." Ni Yang looked at Mo Qishan and said, "Brother Mo, do you recall how you promised me? What happened to the promise of listening to his wife in everything? A man's word is full of lies." Mo Qishan said, "Let's do this. In major matters, well, go with your decision, but can we go with my suggestion for minor things like this?" Unable to argue with him, Ni Yang had to agree. Wu Daming compliantly slowed down the car to a crawl. At first, the two sat properly in the back seat. But later, Mo Qishan started getting restless. They sat closer together, and in the end, Hong Qishan daringly pulled her onto his lap. His delicate, thin chin rested on Ni Yang's shoulder, his hands wandering around her waist. "Yang, will you come with me to F country next time?" The single dog Wu Daming in the driver's seat stealthily glanced at the rearview mirror and immediately felt his innocent heart taking a 10,000-point blow from a love attack. Couldn't bear to look anymore. Chapter 372. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _1. Could the two at the back seat consider the feelings of this single, pitiful man? It's uncomfortable. Heart-wrenching. Feels like crying. What to do? He too desires to be in love. Mo Qishan's arm was tightly wrapped around Ni Yang, his chin rubbing against her neck. Ni Yang pinched his chin, slapping his face while saying, "You bastard, your beard is poking me." Faintly colored, the stubble on his chin isn't too noticeable, but it pricks against the soft skin, causing a stinging pain accompanied by slight itchiness. Bastard? Wu Daming in the front seat was dumbfounded. Ni Yang actually called Mo Qishan a bastard. It would have been less surprising if she just called him a bastard, but she even dared to slap Mo Qishan's face. It's over. Mo Qishan must be angry now. Hanging around Mo Qishan for such a long time, he knew Mo Qishan's nature well. He has a quick temper. Easily angered. His character is quite eccentric. Also, he despises anyone touching his face, not to mention a woman. Even his close male friends can't do so. His face is his forbidden area. Is Ni Yang going to get thrown out of the window by Mo Qishan? It's highly probable. After all, such a thing has happened before. Considering this, Wu Daming slowed down the car once more to prevent Ni Yang from getting seriously injured when she gets thrown out. "Did it prick you?" Mo Qishan asked with a worried face. "Does it hurt?" "I'm sorry, I was in a rush this morning and forgot to shave." At this moment, Wu Daming wondered if he was hallucinating. Was this still the Mo Qishan he knew? Does he not care about his face anymore? And Ni Yang called him a bastard, yet he did not respond. My God, this is too terrifying. Wu Daming was doubting his life. It appears that Mo Qishan is really serious about Ni Yang. Wu Daming looked at Ni Yang differently now, with more respect. Mo Qishan was carefully blowing on the prickly spot. Ni Yang, with disgust, covered his mouth. "Stop blowing, are you a fool?" Mo Qishan mustered courage and kissed Ni Yang's hand. Ni Yang had no reaction. Mo Qishan, whimpering, so afraid the wife will get mad. Since a kiss has already been given, why not kiss again? Mo Qishan mustered the courage and gave her another kiss. Ni Yang's hands were soft, smooth and delicate despite her frequent hard work. With no calluses, her fingers slim, fair and exquisite, like a piece of top-grade mutton fat jade. Ni Yang pinched his nose. "Will you ever stop?" Seeing that Ni Yang wasn't angry, Mo Qishan became braver. He whispered into her ear, "Wife, your hands smell great." Ni Yang raised an eyebrow. "You have no shame." "Not having any shame, yet I am still your man." Ni Yang. She realized Mo Qishan, this bastard, is becoming even more of a jerk. Wu Daming in the front seat. "Please, spare me this display of affection." As if suddenly remembering something, Emo Chishan picked up a package from under the seat. Yang, this is a gift I brought for you from F country. Take a look and see if you like it. There was a splendid cheongsam and a pair of black high heels inside. The cheongsam was made of high-quality silk, giving it a great feel, which immediately caught Enai Yang, a cheongsam enthusiast's attention. The shoes were size 36. Enai Yang curiously asked, "How do you know my shoe size?" Emo Chishan replied with proud arrogance, "How could I not know my wife's shoe size?" He was a fully dedicated, all-round perfect boyfriend. The kind who dotes on his lover. Just then, the car passed by a Western restaurant. Enai Yang said, "Brother Emo, have you eaten yet?" "No," Emo Chishan shook his head and said, "The airline food was terrible." "Then let's go have Western food? If you're not in a rush to go home." Having dinner with his wife, why would he be in a hurry to get home? There was no wife at home. "I have nothing to do at home anyway." Emo Chishan continued, "Daming, park the car in front. We are going to have Western food." Feeling the death gaze from the back of his head, Wu Daming, desperate to survive, said, "No. I can't eat Western food, my stomach is not good, I'll have a stomachache after eating it. Brother Six and sister-in-law, you two go." Emo Chishan regretfully shook his head, "Well, in that case, it can only be me and your sister-in-law." The car stopped in front. Emo Chishan helped Enai Yang out of the car. The two entered the Western restaurant. The restaurant had a romantic ambience, with fresh roses on the tables and violin melodies lingering in the air. It was the perfect place for a couple to have dinner. Chapter 373. Abused the Rotten Peach Blossom, sent for identification _2. Emo Chishan carefully pulled out a chair for Enai Yang. "Thank you, brother." Enai Yang said as she gracefully took a seat opposite him. "Why are you still so polite with me?" Emo Chishan replied, reaching over to affectionately stroke her nose. Enai Yang smiled and retorted, "So should I thank the bastard instead?" Emo Chishan replied seriously, "Never thank me again." Because being nice to his wife was only natural. "Got it." Enai Yang, her eyes brimming with laughter, handed him the menu. "Go ahead and order." "You order?" Enai Yang questioned, "How would I know what you like?" Emo Chishan responded, "I'm not a fussy eater, I love whatever my wife orders." We each ordered 2 dishes, no refusals. Enai Yang wasn't the dictatorial type. "All right." Emo Chishan nodded, "I'll do as my wife says." After Enai Yang ordered 2 dishes, she handed the menu back to Emo Chishan. It was 4 in the afternoon at this moment. There were quite a few people sipping afternoon tea in the restaurant. Sitting opposite Emo Chishan and Enai Yang were 2 girls. Jingrong. Yi Ying, sitting opposite Zhao Jingrong, signaled her with a glance. "What is it?" Zhao Jingrong was puzzled. Yi Ying continued, "Jingrong, look behind you." Zhao Jingrong turned to take a look and her face immediately twisted, distaste clouding her features. "Why did he follow me here?" Yi Ying stated, "Certainly, Emo Chishan must still have a thing for you. That's why he sneaked in after you. What a disgusting man, you have broken off the engagement so long ago, yet he is still stubbornly clinging to you. Shameless." Zhao Jingrong snorted, "If he had any shame, he wouldn't have followed. He doesn't even have the decency to look at himself. A toad trying to eat swan meat." Yi Ying nodded, immediately aligning herself with Zhao Jingrong. "And Jingrong, have you seen the girl next to him? She's quite pretty." Zhao Jingrong's expression darkened. Who in the entire Beijing could be prettier than her? Seeing the change in Zhao Jingrong's demeanor, Yi Ying quickly corrected herself. "Although she's pretty, she can't compare to you, Jingrong. In front of you, she's nothing more than a sparrow." "No. She's nothing, not even a sparrow. You're the bright moon in the sky, she's nothing more than a clump of mud." The Zhao family was indeed a prestigious family in Beijing, and the Yi family was just small fry in comparison, hence Yi Ying's attempts to gain Zhao Jingrong's favor. Zhao Jingrong brightened instantly, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. Continuing the conversation, Yi Ying suggested, "Jingrong, I bet Emo Chishan brought this girl here just to make you jealous. He wants you to react." "Jealous?" Would she feel jealous towards that loser? Zhao Jingrong mocked. A loser stays a loser. His lousy tricks can't even impress anyone. He's doomed for life. Ying nodded in agreement. You're right, Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong pulled out a couple of RMB notes from her wallet and placed them on the table, saying, let's go, towards Yi Ying. Yi Ying immediately followed Zhao Jingrong's lead. As they passed by Mo Qishan, Zhao Jingrong glanced at Ni Yang. At that moment, a hint of surprise flickered in her eyes. She had only glanced at her earlier but hadn't really noticed her. This girl was indeed somewhat attractive. She could just about compete with her. Zhao Jingrong had already been back in Beijing for a while and had thoroughly investigated all the wealthy heiresses in the city. She was certain that this girl did not belong to the elite circles. She wondered where Mo Qishan had found this actress to put on such a show of affection in front of her. Mo Qishan, Zhao Jingrong walked over and stopped next to their table. Her eyes were filled with scorn as she looked down at him. What's the point of this? Ni Yang, who had been chatting with Mo Qishan, was suddenly interrupted by a woman's imperious voice. She glanced up and saw a face heavily made up with expensive makeup. This person? Well, she didn't recognize her. Could she be Mo Qishan's stalker? Ni Yang turned to look at Mo Qishan. Mo Qishan quickly explained, Yang, don't get it wrong, I have nothing to do with her, she's just been persistently annoying. Hearing this, Zhao Jingrong retorted angrily, am the one being annoying? Mo Qishan, you're obviously playing your part too well. Clearly, it's you who has been stalking me. You've been severely disrupting my life. As if stalking wasn't enough, now you've even hired an actress for your play. You think this could provoke me? Let me tell you, our engagement is long over. I would never, ever be attracted to someone like you. Chapter 374. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _3. What a pain in the ass. Zhao Jingrong was furious. She didn't understand why her family initially arranged this marriage for her. Now she was having real trouble. Mo Qishan was just like a sticker, you can't shake him off. Wait a minute, Ni Yang spoke softly, then said, what exactly did you just say, miss? Am an actress? Brother Mo is stalking you? Miss? Ni Yang actually called her miss. Doesn't she know that the thing women care about the most is their age? No one would be happy if a girl about a decade younger than them kept referring to them as miss. Zhao Jingrong angrily replied, are you not the actress hired by Mo Qishan? If he wasn't tailing me, then how could he just so happen to be in this restaurant? Ni Yang laughed. If I'm an actress, how much did you pay me? And may I ask, is this restaurant your personal property? Is it the case that other than you, no one else can come? Look carefully, dear miss, there are many people in this restaurant. Are you implying they are all here because of you? Did they all follow you here? When she heard this, the other diners in the restaurant cast complicated glances at Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong choked on her words, her face turned very ugly, and she was left speechless in anger. An actress is just an actress. Isn't their mouth just like a fountain? Who can withstand it? You are making baseless accusations. Spouting nonsense. Zhao Jingrong finally squeezed out these words after being pent up for a while. It was clear that she was the victim. But why was the situation now reversed and being made her fault? If you are saying Mo Qishan wasn't tailing me, do you have any evidence to prove he wasn't? Ni Yang responded with a light smile. Dear miss, if you say Brother Mo is stalking you, I can also say that you are stalking Brother Mo. Do you have any evidence to prove you aren't? Zhao Jingrong was almost angered to death by Ni Yang. She was stalking Mo Qishan? She would stalk Mo Qishan, such a loser? Wasn't Ni Yang actually insulting her? Little bitch. How dare you talk to Jingrong like that? Ying angrily interjected. Mo Qishan's face changed, and he looked over at Ying. That look made Ying shudder, made her feel chilled to the bone. Were those really the eyes of a loser? Ying looked at Mo Qishan again, only to find that he had already averted his gaze. That must have been a misperception just now, right? It must have been a misperception. Ni Yang kept her cool, saying indifferently, stirring up the pot first makes you the shameless one. Who's the real bitch here? Don't I need to spell it out? Having spoken, Enai Yang continued, "Little girl, at such a young age, I suggest you keep your mouth clean, build up some good karma for your descendants. Try to be kinder as a human being." Upon hearing her words, the surrounding crowd started to gossip about Zhao Jingrong and Yi Ying. Enai Yang looked at Zhao Jingrong and then said, "Also, Mo Qishan is now my boyfriend. If you know what's good for you, miss, please stay away from my boyfriend in the future." At that, the surrounding crowd had an even more complex look, and the whispers grew louder. "So she's trying to steal that young girl's boyfriend. Tisk tisk, you can't really judge a person by their looks." Zhao Jingrong's face was ghostly pale. She had never been so embarrassed in her life. She originally came here intending to put Mo Qishan in his place, to make him give up on her, but she didn't expect to be ridiculed by a young girl. "Mo Qishan, you're doing great. Does he think that by doing this, I would like him? How ridiculous. Let's go." Zhao Jingrong turned her head to look at Yi Ying. Yi Ying immediately followed Zhao Jingrong's steps. The two left the restaurant in a rather sorry state. Inside the restaurant, Mo Qishan dared not meet Enai Yang's eyes. Enai Yang lifted her eyes to look at Mo Qishan. "Brother Mo, aren't you going to explain?" Although she knew Zhao Jingrong was just infatuated with herself, Enai Yang was a bit angry. After all, Mo Qishan was the first person she truly liked. Mo Qishan swallowed. "Yang, you can just call me a jerk again." Mo Qishan suddenly felt that being called a jerk was more comforting and made him feel safer. Enai Yang kept a straight face and didn't say anything. Yang. Mo Qishan carefully prodded Enai Yang's finger. Enai Yang didn't respond. Mo Qishan continued, Yang, there's really nothing between me and her. She is Zhao Jingrong, the one I told you about earlier. We already broke off our engagement and I don't like her at all. Yang, won't you stop being angry, please?" Chapter 375. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _4. Enai Yen responded grimly, "Who knows if you have a plethora of ex-fiancés? Today it's Zhao Jingrong, maybe tomorrow it will be Wang Jingrong, and the day after might be Zhou Jingrong." "I swear I don't." Mo Qishan raised 3 fingers. "It's only this one Zhao Jingrong. It was back when I was immature for a few months, and my family's elders arranged it." "Really no one else?" Enai Yen raised an eyebrow slightly. "Absolutely no one else." Only then did Enai Yen reveal a smile. "Fine, I'll believe you this one time. Are you full? If so, let's go back." "All right." Mo Qishan nodded and followed Enai Yen's pace. Enai Yen went to the bar to pay the bill. Mo Qishan didn't dare say anything else, looking somewhat like an aggrieved little wife. The two of them were walking one in front of the other. Mo Qishan reached out to tug at Enai Yen's sleeve. "What's up?" Enai Yen turned her head slightly. Mo Qishan then said, Yang, can you call me a douchebag again?" Otherwise, he kept feeling that Enai Yen hadn't really forgiven him. Enai Yen pinched his waist. "You bastard, if there's a next time, I won't spare you." When he heard the long-missing phrase, Mo Qishan felt a sense of relief. Bending over, he appeased in a low voice, Yes, my lord wife, I promise there won't be a next time." But Enai Yen pinched even harder. "Silver-tongued devil." "Mercy, my dear, this is called wholeheartedness. Wholeheartedness for you and only you." The two of them arrived at the car bantering all the way. Wu Daming first dropped off Enai Yen, then drove Mo Qishan back to the Mo family. He wasn't sure whether it was an illusion, but Wu Daming felt that after Enai Yen alighted, the temperature inside the car fell several degrees, becoming oppressively cold. He could barely breathe. "Do you know the Yi family?" After a while, Mo Qishan's voice came from the back seat. "I do." Wu Daming nodded. "Brother Six, did the Yi family offend you?" Mo Qishan slowly lit a cigarette. His handsome face seemed to be coated in a thin layer of ice, something far more serious. "Huh." Wu Daming widened his eyes in disbelief. What could be worse than offending Mo Qishan? His curiosity was sparked. What on earth had the Yi family done to be considered unforgivable? So, Mo Qishan looked up at Wu Daming. "Do you know what you should do now?" "Yes." Wu Daming nodded. Any family that upsets Mo Qixin typically ends up with only one outcome: disastrous. Furthermore, Mo Qixin continued, the Zhao family needs to be taught a serious lesson. Okay. They quickly arrived at the Mo family mansion. Mo Qixin had disappeared for over 4 months. His sudden return took Granny Mo by surprise. 6th. Mom. Mo Qixin went in and embraced Granny Mo. Granny Mo complained, "You rascal, where have you been? No sign of you for such a long time." Mo Qixin replied, "I went out to work." Work? Granny Mo said in surprise, "Did I hear wrong? Or did the sun rise from the west?" Mo Qixin helplessly answered, "I really did go to work." Granny Mo nodded dismissively, all right, you went out to work." Mo Qixin, Granny Mo continued, 6th, do you have enough money on you? If it's not enough, just let Mom know. Don't worry, we have plenty of money. Mo Qixin replied, "Don't worry, I'm not short on cash." Granny Mo took out 2 cards from her pocket and shoved them into Mo Qixin's hand. "Keep these cards." Mo Qixin helplessly said, "Mom, I really don't need money." Granny Mo responded with displeasure, "You are my son, my youngest son. Can't your mom give you money? Take my money. It's not humiliating." "Mom, actually I am." Mo Qixin whispered in Granny Mo's ear. After hearing Mo Qixin's words, Granny Mo burst out laughing, "You child, can't even lie convincingly. Only tell your mom such things. If it gets out, people will laugh their teeth off." Mo Qixin, Granny Mo continued, "Now that you're back, Aunt Wang introduced a girl to you. Find some time to see her tomorrow. You're not getting any younger. When I was your age, your elder brother was already 12. Don't worry, I've checked her out. The girl is really nice, well-educated, and her family is full of intellectuals." Chapter 376, Abused the Rotten Peach Blossom, Sent for Identification _5. Although Lady Mo had a strong desire to bring Ni Yang and Mo Qixin together. However, Ni Yang was much younger than Mo Qixin. Her future held countless possibilities. She was afraid that Ni Yang wouldn't fancy Mo Qixin. Besides, Mo Qixin was not young anymore. He could no longer procrastinate. Mo Qixin said, "Mom, I have a girlfriend." "What?" Lady Mo stared incredulously at Mo Qixin. "I have a girlfriend, so Mom, you don't need to worry so much." Lady Mo then said, "You have a girlfriend? You're not making fun of me, are you? Why would I lie about something as serious as this?" Lady Mo hastily asked, "Where's the young lady from? How old is she this year? How does she look? How many are there in her family?" Mo Qixin said, "It's a secret. You'll naturally know when the time comes." "A secret? Even getting a girlfriend has to be kept secret. Just trying to fool her. She thinks she, the mother, is becoming senile?" Lady Mo said, "Regardless, either you bring her over tomorrow for us to take a look, or you go meet the girl Auntie Wang has introduced." Mo Qixin hesitated. "I need to consult with my girlfriend. It seems that this rascal might actually have a girlfriend." Lady Mo felt strangely excited. Lady Mo continued, "Since you're already courting the girl, you should take responsibility for her. Let her get to know you better. Discuss it with her tomorrow. If she's willing to come to our house, I'll make preparations. We can't be rude to the girl." Mo Qixin nodded, "All right." Lady Mo continued, "By the way, is your girlfriend as pretty as Ni Yang?" Mo Qixin gave a mysterious smile. "Why don't you guess?" "Little brat." Lady Mo gave a playful smack to Mo Qixin's head. "Don't play tricks on me." Mo Qixin continued, "You'll know when the time comes. Can't you just tell me straight?" Mo Qixin stroked his chin. "How should I put this?" Just then, Mo Baichuan walked in from outside. Upon hearing this conversation, Ni Yang's words suddenly flashed in his mind. Last time, Ni Yang said that she and Mo Qixin were together. Could the girlfriend that Mo Qixin was referring to be Ni Yang? They couldn't possibly be together, right? Would Ni Yang genuinely fancy Mo Qixin? Probably not. If the girlfriend Mo Qixin was talking about was indeed Ni Yang, he wouldn't have been so secretive. Why wouldn't he just say it outright? Yes, That person definitely isn't Ni Yang. Upon this thought, Mo Baichuan breathed a sigh of relief and headed upstairs. Chuan Chuan. Lady Mo called out to Mo Baichuan's retreating back. Grandma. Mo Baichuan respectfully responded. Lady Mo continued, Baichuan, didn't you see your sixth uncle has come back? Mo Baichuan turned to Mo Qishan, sixth uncle. Mo Qishan nodded, good boy. Mo Baichuan slightly furrowed his brow. Mo Qishan was always so nonchalant and aimless. He found it strange if Ni Yang actually fancied such a man. At the Ni family's house. The moment Ni Yang arrived home, Ni Cuehua curiously asked, Yang, where were you? I went to the airport to pick someone up. Who? Ni Yang continued, it was Mo Qishan. Mom, I'm dating Mo Qishan. Presently, Ni Yang didn't want to hide from Ni Cuehua anymore. Ni Cuehua smiled and said, then you have to treat Xiaomo well. Xiaomo is a good boy, you're not allowed to bully him. Ni Cuehua sincerely admired the young Mo Qishan. As Ni Yang chopped tomatoes, she said, look at what you're saying. How could I bully him? Ni Cuehua continued, does Xiaomo's mother know about this? Their family is unlike ours. Will his mother have any prejudice against us? Rest assured, Auntie Mo is not the type to judge by appearances. Ni Yang was quite familiar with Lady Mo's character. Upon hearing this from Ni Yang, Ni Cuehua finally felt relieved. The next day, Ni Yang took Ni Cuehua to the city. The weather was getting warmer, and Ni Yang wanted Ni Cuehua to go to the city more often. Staying home all day could easily lead to depression. There were lots of people on the street. Spring had come, and kite vendors could be seen everywhere. Ni Yang bought an eagle kite. Mom, why don't we take Yun Yun to the park to fly kites? Chapter 377. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification _6. Little Ni Yun is 1 month old now and can already toddle around. Not far from here, there's a wetland park. At this season, the wetland park is bustling with parents who bring their children out to fly kites. Upon seeing the kites, little Ni Yun laughs with joy. Sister, sister, sister. Ni Yang says, Yun Yun, that is a kite. Little Ni Yun follows and says, Hongzheng. Kite. Ni Yang corrects her. Hong. Ni Yang. The three women head toward the direction of the wetland park. At this moment, Ni Cuehua is bumped into by a fast-walking passerby. She doesn't know if it's an illusion, but she suddenly feels a pain in her scalp, as if her hair has been pulled out. The passerby immediately apologizes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. Are you okay? Since the passerby apologized sincerely, Ni Cuehua didn't dwell on it and replied, I'm fine, really. Upon hearing that Ni Cuehua was okay, the passerby hastily walks off, as if afraid Ni Cuehua might accuse her of something. Mom, are you really okay? Ni Yang asks. Ni Cuehua smiles and says, I'm not made of gold, what could possibly happen to me? That's a relief. The passerby swiftly runs into a small alley and hands over 2 strands of hair to a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man hands him 10 yuan. Thank you, says the passerby, smiling. If there is such work in the future, you can contact me at any time. Ni Yang and Ni Cuehua walk along the road. Suddenly, a male voice sounds from behind them. Yang. Ni Yang looks back and sees Mo Qishan. Brother Mo. Yang. Mo Qishan runs over and greets politely, Good day, Auntie. Knowing that Mo Qishan and Ni Yang are dating, Ni Cuehua's gaze softens considerably. Xiaoma, you're here. Yes. Mo Qishan nods. Auntie, where are you and Yang going? Ni Cuehua says, we are heading to fly kites. Xiaoma, would you like to join us? Sure. Mo Qishan agrees happily. Because Ni Cuehua is present, Mo Qishan doesn't dare to behave frivolously, he doesn't even dare walk too close to Ni Yang. They walk behind Ni Cuehua. When Ni Cuehua isn't looking, Mo Qishan reaches out and quietly holds Ni Yang's hand. When Ni Cuehua turns back to speak to them, Mo Qishan quickly releases Ni Yang's hand and seriously answers Ni Cuehua's questions. He's acting as if nothing had happened. Ni Yang stifles a laugh, extends her pinky finger, and hooks Mo Kishin's little finger, whispering, "Brother Mo, actually, my mom already knows about us. If you want to hold hands, just hold it." This man is really stubborn. Mo Kishin's heart leaps. Really? Yes. Ni Yang nods. Then how does mom perceive me? Mo Kishin lowers his voice. Ni Yang says, "You're fine." After finishing her sentence, Ni Yang realizes something was off. She nudges his waist with her elbow. "What do you mean our mom?" "She's my mom. Stop trying to take advantage." Mo Kishin clutches his waist, acting dramatically. "Murdering your own husband, that's what you're doing. You jerk." At this moment, Ni Tsuehua turns back. "Yang, it's a left turn up ahead to get to the park, isn't it?" Mo Kishin quickly lets go of Ni Yang's hand, startled. Ni Yang nods and says, "Yes, Mom, a left turn up ahead and we'll be there." "All right." Ni Yang turns his gaze to Mo Kishin, teasing, "Anyway, my mom already knows." "What are you afraid of?" Mo Kishin says, "I have to maintain a good image in front of mom. What if she thinks I'm not steady enough and not a good match for you?" Ni Yang laughs, "You fool." They arrive at the park soon after. The May weather is not cold, not hot, it's just right. All sorts of kites are flying in the park sky. Ni Tsuehua and little Ni Yun are busy flying kites, while Ni Yang and Mo Kishin sit under a big tree, chatting. "Yang, my mom wants to invite you over to our house tomorrow." Ni Yang looks at Mo Kishin, puzzled. Mo Kishin continues, "As my girlfriend, Yang, do you want to go? Is it time to meet the parents already?" Ni Yang is stunned. Yang. Ni Yang thinks for a moment, sure. It's inevitable that the ugly wife will meet her in-laws. Besides, she's already quite familiar with Mo's Mrs. and Mr. Chapter 378. Abused the rotten peach blossom, sent for identification under 7 really? Mo Kishin asked with some uncertainty. Ni Yang nodded, raising an eyebrow and counter-asking, "What? You don't want me to go?" "Of course not." Mo Kishin said, "I've been dreaming of you going, Yang. You are really great." In fact, before asking this question, Mo Kishin was very nervous. After all, he and Ni Yang haven't been in a relationship for that long. He was afraid Ni Yang would think he was too frivolous. Mo Kishin was born a prodigy, but in front of Ni Yang, he didn't have much security. Because Ni Yang was just too outstanding. And she was so much younger than him. He was afraid Ni Yang would despise him. Over here, Ni Tsuehua and little Ni Yun had already flown the kite into the sky. Little Ni Yun clapped his hands excitedly. "Amazing kite!" Ni Tsuehua handed the kite reel to little Ni Yun. Yun, can you hold this?" Once he had hold of the reel, little Ni Yun became even more excited. Just then, the kite string suddenly broke. The kite in midair began to descend in a straight line. Little Ni Yun pointed at the kite, anxiously saying, "Down, gone. Yun, don't worry, mommy will take you to pick it up." Ni Tsuehua carried little Ni Yun towards the place where the kite had fallen. Halfway there, she saw a tall man carrying an eagle-shaped kite and walking in their direction. "Comrade, is this your kite?" "Yes, it's ours." Ni Tsuehua, holding the child with one hand and accepting the kite with the other, said, "Thank you." "No problem, it was just a small favor." It was then that Ni Tsuehua recognized the man's face and exclaimed in surprise, "It's you." The man looked at Ni Tsuehua in confusion. "You are?" Ni Tsuehua continued, "We met on the tram before. If it hadn't been for your timely intervention then, my child and I might have been in big trouble." Although they had met only briefly at the time, Ni Tsuehua had a deep memory of his face. After all, he had helped her so much. Yes, this man was none other than Shangguan Dehui, the father of Shangguan Su. Shangguan Dehui only remembered the incident that had happened on the tram about 5 months ago. In the vast sea of people, two strangers meeting again was indeed a rare fate. "Oh, it's you. The child has grown so much." Children can change a lot in a short time. There was a big difference between little Ni Yun at 7 months and at 11 months. Fufu. Little Ni Yun was very smart and knew to call younger people brother and older people uncle. She could say anything now, except for daddy. Shangguan Dehui loved children. Seeing such a cute little Ni Yun, he couldn't help but ask, "Would you mind if I hold the child?" "Not at all." Ni Hua handed the child to Shangguan Dehui. Shangguan Dehui reached out to take the child. Little Ni Yun was rarely held by men and was very excited at this moment. Shangguan Dehui continued, "What's the child's name?" Ni Yun. Ni Hua explained, the Ni with a person radical, followed by Yun, as in cloud. Shangguan Dehui nodded, "Reach the end of the water and sit to watch the rising clouds. It's a very nice name." "Thank you." Ni Hua thanked him. If it had been before, Ni Hua would definitely not have understood the meaning of these two lines of poetry, but now things were different. For more than half a year now, she had been reading every day and had completely transformed. "Dad." Shangguan Shi ran over from the other side, and when seeing Ni Hua and little Ni Yun in Shangguan Dehui's arms, she paused for a moment. Shangguan Dehui took the initiative to introduce, "This is my daughter, Shangguan Shi. Xiaoxi, this is Aunt Ni Hua and her daughter, Ni Yun." Shangguan Shi greeted them politely, "Hello, Aunt." Little Ni Yun chirped out, "Sis, sis." Of all the words, she could call out sister the clearest. Seeing how adorable little Ni Yun was, Shangguan Zai's heart was instantly warmed. "Hello, little sis." "Hello, sis." Little Ni Yun was especially well behaved. Shangguan Shi took out a candy from her pocket. "Little sis, this is for you." "Thank you, sis." Little Ni Yun's face was so thrilled, her eyes squinted into slits. "You're welcome." Shangguan Shi gently patted her little head, then remembered something, and addressed Shangguan Dehui, "Dad, Aunt Lin and the others have arrived." "Oh, let's go then." After bidding Ni Hua farewell, Shangguan Dehui and Shangguan Shi left together. Meanwhile, at the Zheng family, Zheng Lingling noticed that today, old lady Zheng had once again called butler Lu to the study room. So, under the pretense of delivering chicken soup to the old lady, she brazenly lurked outside to listen in. Inside the study room, old lady Zheng asked, "Butler Lu, how is that matter progressing?" Butler Lu replied, "Old madam, please don't worry. I have given the hair to Dr. Wang. The results should be out in about 3 months." Old lady Zheng nodded and then asked, "There has been no leak, has there? You can trust my discretion." "That's good." Old lady Zheng sighed in relief. "Butler Lu, I'm sorry for troubling you over this period." Butler Lu said, "Old madam, it's my duty and responsibility." The study room was reasonably soundproof. From outside, Zheng Lingling could only vaguely catch a few phrases. "Dr. Wang, appraisal of the hair, things of that nature." Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. An ominous feeling surged in her heart. The old witch couldn't actually have found her real daughter, could she? If she did find her real daughter, then what would happen to her and Zheng Xianjing? And so, before the old witch made her will, nothing should threaten them. Better safe than sorry. Dr. Wang. Yes. This matter had to start with Dr. Wang. Zheng Lingling gradually cooled down, steadied herself, and left with the chicken soup. "Mom, what's wrong? You don't look well." Zheng Xianjing looked worriedly at Zheng Lingling. Zheng Lingling put down the chicken soup. "Xianjing, come with me." "Oh." Zheng Xianjing followed Zheng Lingling to the third floor's bedroom. Zheng Lingling closed the door and recited what she had overheard outside the study room to Zheng Xianjing. Upon hearing this, Zheng Xianjing's face changed markedly. "Mom, what should we do? Surely we can't just sit and wait?" Zheng Lingling continued, "We have to find a way to replace the hair sample with Dr. Wang." "Replace the hair?" Zheng Xianjing furrowed her brow. "Yes." Zheng Lingling nodded. Zheng Xianjing then asked, "That might be difficult, right?" Zheng Lingling thought for a moment. "That's why we need to plan carefully. We can't afford to be careless." Having said that, Zheng Lingling added, "Xianjing, I remember Dr. Wang's son was your high school classmate, right? He's been to our house before, hasn't he?" "Yes." Zheng Xianjing nodded. Zheng Lingling instructed, "This weekend, you should invite him out." Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes. Mom, you mean? Zheng Lingling nodded. Chapter 379. Clever Mrs. Zheng, meeting the parents one by one, revised. _1 Zheng Lingling turned her head toward Zheng Xianjing. A slight curve appeared on her lips, recognizing the look in the other's eyes. Despite Dr. Wang being unselfishly generous, he still has a son. They could take action related to the son. If they really wanted to go ahead, this matter would not be complicated. What Zheng Lingling didn't expect was that the conversation in the study room continued even after she left. Mrs. Zheng, tinged with worry, asked, "Butler Lu, do you really think modern equipment can be so accurate as to verify blood relations?" Matters concerning her only daughter made Mrs. Zheng extremely worried. She could not put all her hopes on the machines. No matter how good the machine was, there could still be errors. What if there were a mistake? Butler Lu said, "Don't worry, madam. We live in an era of advanced science and technology. There surely won't be any errors." Mrs. Zheng then said, "Butler Lu, you might have to go through the trouble again to send another hair sample to Dr. Xiaoran." "Madam, do you not trust Dr. Wang?" asked Butler Lu. "An extra authentication so that I can have peace of mind. Butler Lu, I'm already 68 this year, and as the years pass, my health is deteriorating. I'm afraid." Towards the end, Mrs. Zheng let out a deep sigh. Her subsequent words were already understood without being spoken. Butler Lu said, "Madam, you will surely live a long life." Mrs. Zheng laughed. "I understand my own body and mind well enough, Butler Lu. There's no need for your consolation." Butler Lu followed up, "Madam, even if Miss Tingting is not found, you still have Xianjing by your side. Xianjing is a good child, but smart people often encounter misfortune." Mrs. Zheng looked up at the door and continued to say, "I clearly understand what Lingling is considering in her heart. A few days ago, did Lingling secretly look for you? Asking about Tingting's matter?" At these words, Butler Lu was taken aback. His gaze towards Mrs. Zheng changed. He thought Mrs. Zheng knew nothing. In reality, Mrs. Zheng was as clear-hearted as a mirror. She knew everything, she just did not wish to bring it up. The reason for seeking Dr. Xiaoran to verify the results was probably because she was worried that Zheng Lingling would ruin it from the inside. Thinking of this, Butler Liu's gaze towards Mrs. Zheng was filled with more respect. Mrs. Zheng continued, "My older sister left us early, and Lingling was only 7 years old when she came to live with me. Even though the girl might be a bit too assertive at times, she's essentially not a bad person. Zheng Lingling was brought up by Mrs. Zheng, and she was her sister's daughter. Although they were not biological mother and daughter, their bond had the foundation of the previous generation's relationship. If it weren't for a friend's plea, Mrs. Zheng would not have been in the mood to adopt a daughter at the time." Butler Lu nodded, "Madam, what you said is right." After Zheng Lingling and her daughter discussed their secret plans and left the room, they bumped into Butler Lu and Mrs. Zheng coming down the stairs. "Grandma," Zheng Xianjing came over reverently, supporting Mrs. Zheng's arm. Zheng Lingling said, "Mom, I have made chicken soup for you. The temperature is just right now. I will bring it over to you." Mrs. Zheng chuckled, "Lingling, you've worked hard. There is no need for you to make chicken soup for me every day." Zheng Lingling said, "It's not hard at all to prepare some chicken soup. As your daughter, looking after you is only right." As soon as she finished speaking, Zheng Lingling turned around to fetch the chicken soup from the kitchen. Zheng Xianjing led Mrs. Zheng to the couch to sit down. Just as Zheng Lingling was walking into the living room with the chicken soup, she was knocked over by a figure. Bang! The chicken soup was spilled on the floor, and the porcelain bowl was smashed to pieces. Clapping and laughter echoed in the air. "Wow! So much fun! It's really fun! Ha! Mom, are you all right?" Zheng Xianjing immediately ran over to help Zheng Lingling up. Zheng Lingling was furious. Her eyes flashed with intense venom. The chicken soup that she had worked hard on for over 3 hours had just been spilled by this crazy woman. If it wasn't for Mrs. Zheng's presence, she would have slapped her already. Zheng Lingling smiled and said, "I'm fine, Xianjing, don't worry." Even though Zheng Lingling claimed that she was fine, there was a frightful red mark on her wrist. Zheng Xianjing said, I'll go get the burn ointment. No need, Zheng Lingling laughed. Surely a wound this small doesn't need burn ointment? Suyu. Mrs. Zheng looked sternly at the person who caused the chicken soup to be spilled. Sister, that was fun. Zheng Suyu didn't realize her mistake. Her eyes were sparkling with excited laughter. Chapter 380. Clever Mrs. Zheng, Meeting the Parents One by One, Revised, _2. Zheng Suyu is the youngest sister of Old Master Zheng, and she is 56 years old this year. This younger sister was a talented woman in her early years, but she unfortunately met a faithless man and lost all faith in marriage. She openly declared that she would remain unwed for life and had been living in the Zheng's residence ever since. Then, 3 years ago, she went mad overnight while she was perfectly fine. When she was taken to the hospital, the doctors diagnosed her with a mental illness stemmed from severe depression. There was almost no chance of recovery. Ghost. You are a ghost. Zheng Suyu stared at Zheng Lingling. She suddenly became frightened. How terrifying. There's a ghost. Ghost. You all are ghosts. Zheng Suyu suddenly pushed Zheng Lingling onto the ground, laughing crazily. Ha! The ghost is dead. The evil ghost was killed by me. I am so powerful. Suyu. Madame Zheng shouted angrily. Butler Lu, take Suyu back to her room. Sister, behave, Suyu will behave. Zheng Suyu plaintively clung to the sleeve of Madame Zheng. She looked like a scared child, making people reluctant to scold her. When was it that Zheng Suyu was also a person proud to the bone? Fate plays with people. Madame Zheng's eyes were filled with sadness and helplessness. Zheng Lingling, understanding the situation, said, Mom, please don't blame Aunt Suyu. I was just not steady on my feet. Aunt Suyu didn't mean to. If she could control herself, she wouldn't behave like this. Wah! Zheng Suyu made a face at Zheng Lingling. Madame Zheng sighed, looking at Zheng Suyu and said, Suyu, when can you get better? Sister, sister, you are so beautiful. Zheng Suyu suddenly became excited and started hopping around the room. Madame Zheng sighed again, her eyes full of sorrow. Shangguan Dehui lost his wife early. His visits to the park this year were not just for leisure walks but also for matchmaking events. Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi were sensible children. They did not object to their father finding a companion. The woman he met was Lin Fong, who is exactly 40 years old. Her husband passed away 5 years ago from liver cancer, and she remained unmarried. Shangguan Dehui is already 42 and at his age, he didn't have high demands for women. As long as the woman was gentle, virtuous, and able to live a daily life, that would be enough. Lin Fong was a kindergarten teacher, had an elegant job, and was decent in character. There was no significant generation gap between her and Shangguan Dehui. After the meeting, Shangguan Shi asked, Dad, what is your impression of Aunt Lin? Shangguan Dehui said, You can only know a person's heart with time. Shangguan Shi asked, So that means your first impression is good? Shangguan Dehui turned the question. Xiaoxi, what do you think of Lin Fong? In fact, he didn't mind much. As long as Shangguan Su and Shangguan Shi thought it was okay, it was okay. Shangguan Shi smiled and responded, I think Aunt Lin is nice. She has a good background, a decent job, and a gentle personality. I think she's very compatible with you. How about dating Aunt Lin for a while, Dad? If you find you are not compatible, you can break up. Shangguan Dehui said, I will think about it more. Shangguan Shi nodded and continued, Actually, Aunt Lin is really good. I heard from Grandma Zhao that her husband has been gone for 5 years, but she has been devotedly serving her paralyzed mother-in-law without any complaints. Lin Fong was indeed a good person. Shangguan Shi did not want her father to miss her. Lin Fong returned home with a smile on her face. As soon as she opened the door, her only daughter, Chang Yu, eagerly asked, Mom, how did it go? Lin Fong said, I think Shangguan Dehui should be quite satisfied with me. Really? Chang Yu asked in surprise. Lin Fong nodded. At least the first impression is good. Chang Yu continued, Mom, you must seize the opportunity. The Shangguan family is a wealthy family. If you marry into it, then I will be a lady of wealth. Moreover, I heard that Shangguan Su is the president of a bank and he is also very handsome. Chang Yu got lost in her own fantasies. If her mother marries into the Shangguan family, although she can also become a rich young lady, she will always be a stepdaughter. But if she could capture Shangguan Zu's heart, it would be different. Then, she would become the true mistress of the Shangguan family. Lin Fang laughed and said, "Do I need you to tell me that?" Just then, a hoarse voice came from the next room, "Hungry! I am so hungry." Chapter 381. Clever Mrs. Zheng, Meeting the Parents One by One, Revised, _3. Lin Fang's expression quickly turned intolerant, cursing and walking into the house. "Hungry, hungry, always hungry. You old hag, didn't you just eat this morning?" The room was a storeroom, filled with a strange smell and assorted items. On a bed in the corner lay a skeletal old woman. Although the old woman was feeble, her eyes were exceptionally spirited. "Hungry! I am hungry." Lin Fang picked up a cold, hard steamed bun and threw it at the old woman's head. "Eat up, you old hag. Poisonous woman, loose woman. You killed my son, you will not have a peaceful death." The old woman glared at Lin Fang, her eyes seemingly ready to devour. "You old hag. All you can do is eat and talk." Lin Fang grabbed the steamed bun and shoved it into the old woman's mouth. If it wasn't for concern about her own reputation, Lin Fang would have gotten rid of this old hag long ago. Lin Fang warned, "You old hag, if you dare to create any more trouble, watch how I deal with you." Lying paralyzed on the bed, the old woman was a helpless target for Lin Fang's numerous ways of torment. At these words, the old woman dared not say anything more. Lin Fang turned and walked back to the living room. Chang Yu voiced her concerns. "Mom, what will happen to that old lady if you marry into the Shangguan family?" Lin Fang responded, "Don't worry about that. Mom will find a way." "Oh." Chang Yu nodded. Mo family. After Mo Qishan returned, he told Grandma Mo about Ni Yang's visit the next day. Upon hearing this, Grandma Mo excitedly asked, "Really? You're not picking on me, are you?" Mo Qishan chuckled, "Do you think I am teasing you? Good. This is great." Grandma Mo exclaimed, "I must start preparing now. By the way, what does the young lady like to eat?" After thinking for a while, Mo Qishan replied, She prefers spicy food and also fruit. Like grapes and lychees, for instance." Grapes, lychees? These fruits were out of season, causing a bit of a dilemma for Grandma Mo. To get these fruits, they would have to be sourced from outside. Given the inefficient transportation of the times, a round trip would take at least a week. "You naughty boy. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? It's already dark now, where am I supposed to get these fruits?" Grandma Mo complained to Mo Qishan. Mo Qishan replied, "Mom, don't worry, I've already prepared these fruits. Now, just go and get a good night's sleep, and greet your future daughter-in-law with your best spirit tomorrow." "You naughty boy." Grandma Mo playfully slapped Mo Qishan. Mo Qishan continued, "I'm going to my room now. Off with you. Good night, Mom." Mo Qishan waved at Grandma Mo. After leaving the room, Mo Qishan immediately went upstairs to share the good news with Grandpa Mo. Upon hearing the news, Grandpa Mo exclaimed, "Really? Which poor girl has our naughty boy bewitched?" Despite referring to it as a bewitchment, the smile on Grandpa Mo's face couldn't be hidden. Initially, Grandpa Mo had been worried that Mo Qishan wouldn't be able to overcome the shadow of his broken engagement. Grandma Mo smiled and said, "I don't know either, and our naughty boy stubbornly refuses to spill any beans. But it doesn't matter, since we will see the girl tomorrow anyway." Grandpa Mo put down the brush in his hand. "As it's the girl's first visit, we must not neglect the preparations. Go and tell Ping Ping and Baichuan. I want everyone to be home tomorrow." Grandma Mo nodded. "You're right. I'll go and inform Chuan Chuan and the others now." With a pleased smile, Grandma Mo went to Mo Baichuan's room. Next, Grandma Mo called Lin Pingping. After learning the entire situation, Lin Pingping hesitated and said, "Aunt, considering that I'm divorced, will the girl's family feel uncomfortable if I attend such an important occasion?" Grandma Mo responded, "You silly girl. What time are we living in that you still have such thoughts? Divorce? So what? Divorce is not a disgrace. By coming, you're showing respect to the girl's family and also helping to keep an eye on things." Upon hearing this, Lin Pingping agreed. Bright and early the next day, Mo Qishan woke up. He opened his wardrobe, debating on what to wear, trying on outfit after outfit without satisfaction. Finally, he decided on his frequently worn white shirt. Chapter 382, Clever Mrs. Zheng, Meeting the Parents One by One, Revised, _4. After choosing his clothes, he carefully shaved off his stubble, meticulously washed his face, and finally headed downstairs. When he reached the ground floor, Mr. and Mrs. Mo were sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper. "Old Six, you're up? I was just about to wake you," they said. "Mom, Dad, have you eaten yet?" "Your dad and I already ate. We left breakfast for you on the table. The quicker you consume it, the sooner you can go pick up your bride." "Okay." Mo Qishan picked up a meat bun, saying, "I'm leaving now." After Mo Qishan left, Mrs. Mo fell into a state of anxiety. "Husband, do I look good in this outfit? Is it acceptable?" In anticipation of meeting her future daughter-in-law, Mrs. Mo was dressed exceptionally formal today. Mr. Mo, without lifting his gaze from the newspaper, said, "The young lady is dating old Six. What's the use of you looking good?" Mrs. Mo replied, "I want to make a good impression on her." Mo Qishan cycled to the Ni family's courtyard. When he arrived, Ni Yang was in the living room having a meal. "Xiaomo's here," Ni Zuihua urged. "Yang, hurry up and eat." "Okay." Ni Yang managed a garbled agreement while still eating porridge. Mo Qishan said, "No worries, Auntie, there's no rush. We still have plenty of time." Ni Zuihua laughed and said, "Little Mo, have you eaten yet? If not, you can eat with us. The pan-fried dumplings this morning were hand-wrapped by Yang herself." Mo Qishan politely said, "Thank you, Auntie, but I've already eaten." Ni Yang lifted her eyes towards Mo Qishan. "Brother Mo, why so shy?" Ni Zuihua handed him a fresh pair of chopsticks and a bowl. "We are all family, little Mo, there's no need to be formal." Mo Qishan stood up, accepting the bowl and chopsticks with both hands. "Thank you, Auntie." In a little while, Ni Yang put down her bowl and chopsticks, then said, "Brother Mo, take your time. I'm going to change." "Okay." Mo Qishan nodded. Somehow his face suddenly flushed. For some inexplicable reason, he felt a little warm. Within a short time, Ni Yang emerged from her room fully dressed. However, Mo Qishan was not in the living room. "Where is he?" Ni Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Just then there was a sound from the kitchen. Ni Yang went to see and found Mo Qishan washing dishes in the kitchen. He was slightly bent down, fully concentrated, and hadn't even noticed Ni Yang's arrival. His rolled-up sleeves revealed the strong, fair wrists. His hands were slender, with clear, pronounced veins, a hand model's delight, tempting one to touch. In this era, unlike future generations, men tended to be chauvinistic, believing that kitchen chores were women's work. But he looked completely at ease doing them. He really knew how to put on a show. Ni Yang approached him with a light smile. "Brother Mo, pretty impressive." Mo Qishan responded with a grin. "Thank you for the compliment, boss. Also, this cheongsam you're wearing is really beautiful. You're like change from the Moon Palace." Ni Yang was wearing a cheongsam she brought back from F country. The pale yellow cheongsam accentuated her already fair skin, making it look as delicate as a peeled eggshell. The cheongsam was embroidered with lifelike peonies, which were typically known as the king of flowers and were known for their ability to enliven Beijing when they bloom. However, with the cheongsam on Ni Yang, the peonies seemed to lose their shine. Ni Yang's eyes twinkled. "I see you're still good with your sweet talk." After washing the last dish, Mo Qishan leaned towards Ni Yang and said, "Would you like to taste how sweet?" Ni Yang was shocked, her cheeks instantly turning a deep shade of red. She glared at him, shameless. She quickly realized that Mo Qishan, the loathsome man, was becoming increasingly flirtatious. Ni Yang even began to suspect that Mo Qishan's initial innocent demeanor was just a ploy to beguile her. Mo Qishan gazed at her, seemingly lost in thought for a moment. My God! His bride looked beautiful even when she was angry. Ni Yang ignored him and walked out of the kitchen. Mo Qishan immediately followed her out. Ni Zuihua brought out a prepared gift for Ni Yang. Yang, you should bring this. Okay. Ni Yang reached out for it. Mo Qishan said, Auntie, you really don't have to. Ni Zuihua smiled and said, this is Yang Yang's first time visiting your home as your girlfriend. It's a basic courtesy. Xiaoma, if you don't accept it, he'll get upset. Mo Qishan chuckled, Auntie, thank you. Ni Zuihua said, why are you still being so formal with me, little Mo? Alright, you two should get going. Don't keep your family waiting. Chapter 383, Clever Mrs. Zheng, Meeting the Parents One by One, Revised, _5. Alright Andy, goodbye. Goodbye. Ni Zuihua waved her hand. Mo Qishan was still riding on that bicycle. Ni Yang was sitting at the front. It wasn't that Mo Qishan didn't want to drive over, but that he enjoyed this feeling. The Mo family, the elderly Mr. and Mrs. Mo, had been eagerly awaiting for quite a while. Just then, the butler, with binoculars in hand, rushed downstairs from the floor above. They're here. Master, Madam, the sixth young master is biking over. Old Madam Mo excitedly said, really? The butler nodded, yes, they're already at the intersection now. Old Madam Mo turned her head and directed her gaze at Master Mo. Come on, dear, let's hurry out to meet them. Old Master Mo responded nervously, wait a moment. Wait a moment. What's wrong? Old Madam Mo looked at Master Mo impatiently. If you have something to say it quickly. She was eager to meet her future daughter-in-law. Master Mo continued, this outfit of mine, does it look all right? In a rather disgusted tone, Old Madam Mo said, the young girl is dating our sixth son, not you. What use is there for you to look so presentable? Master Mo, what goes around comes around indeed. Old Madam Mo continued, butler, go upstairs and call for Ping Ping and Chuan Chuan. After all, this is the young laddie's first time visiting us, we must not neglect our etiquette. The butler responded, all right, I will go right away. Master and Madam Mo headed towards the door. Both of them waited with bated breath. Why haven't they arrived yet? Didn't the butler just say they were here? Yeah. Why aren't they here yet? Both elders were getting anxious. Just then, they could finally see the silhouette of a person riding a bicycle within their line of sight. Getting closer and closer. Old Madam Mo excitedly said, they're here. Old Master Mo squinted his eyes and said, why does this young lady look somewhat familiar? It was only when Mo Qishan introduced Ni Yang to the old couple that they finally reacted. Mom, Dad, let me introduce you to my girlfriend Ni Yang. Ni Yang greeted them with a smile. And Mo, Uncle what? Both Old Master and Old Madam Mo glanced at each other, surprise written all over their faces. Old Madam Mo was the first to come back to her senses, gripping Ni Yang's hands and asking, Yang, you're not joking with me, are you? Did Mo Qishan really manage to win her over? This felt more like a dream. It was so unbelievable. Ni Yang responded, Auntie Mo, do I look like I'm joking? Old Madam Mo shook her head. No, not at all. Oh my, who would have thought Mo Qishan really won over Ni Yang? A thing even she didn't dare to dream of. Old Madam Mo was on top of the world with her excitement. She even felt the urge to break into song. Master Mo finally responded, Yang, come in and sit. Come in. Mo Qishan held Ni Yang's hand and the two of them entered the grand doors of the Mo family together. As soon as they entered, they encountered Lin Pingping and Mo Baichuan, who were descending from the upper floor. The two of them were completely taken aback. Nobody had expected that the visitor would have been Ni Yang. Lin Pingping quickly came over to Ni Yang. Oh my God! Young brother 6, what's this? Mo Qishan smiled and said, Sister, Yang and I, we're together now. Lin Pingping was speechless for a long while. Mo Baichuan, who followed behind, directly froze in place. He never thought that Ni Yang would actually be with that good-for-nothing Mo Chishan. What is Ni Yang trying to do? What's Ni Yang really up to? Is she still trying to get his attention? By getting close to Mo Chishan and having the chance to get close to him? Mo Chishan looked up at Mo Baichuan. Nephew, aren't you going to greet your future aunt? Mo Baichuan had a stiff expression on his face. Chuan. Old Madam Mo gently reminded, scared he might offend Ni Yang again. Mo Baichuan walked up to Ni Yang. Aunt 6. Was Ni Yang trying to provoke him? Then he's also going to provoke Ni Yang a little bit. He just wanted to see how Ni Yang would respond to his mention of Aunt 6. Ni Yang responded ambiguously with a smile, my big nephew. Mo Baichuan's face was turning an unsightly hue. Ni Yang did dare to. She really did dare to. Did she think that by doing so, he would think highly of her? No way. Never. Mo Hudi walked into the house from outside. Upon seeing Ni Yang, she was so excited that she hugged Ni Yang and said, Sister Ni Yang, when did you arrive? Chapter 384. Clever Mrs. Zheng, Meeting the Parents One by One, Revised, _6. Old Mrs. Mo said cheerfully, Xiaodai, you can't call Ni Yang Sister Ni Yang anymore. Why? Mo Hudi asked curiously. Mo Chishan squatted down, looking at Mo Hudi, because Sister Ni Yang is now your uncle's girlfriend. Mo Hudi exclaimed, really? Mo Chishan nodded. Mo Hudi continued, Uncle, I knew you had a thing for Sister Ni Yang. Mo Chishan. Mo Hudi added, so does that mean Sister Ni Yang will be my future auntie? Yes. Mo Chishan nodded. Mo Hudi looked at Ni Yang. Auntie, if my uncle dares to bully you, just tell me. I will kick his ass for you. Ni Yang laughed and pinched Mo Hudi's face. Okay. Mo Baichuan's face got darker. He turned around and walked toward the door. Old Mrs. Mo asked, Chuan, where are you going? To pick up my girlfriend. Mo Baichuan responded without turning back. He was really curious to see if Ni Yang could hold her breath. Old Mrs. Mo wondered aloud, when did this boy get a girlfriend? Old Mr. Mo said, don't worry about him. Then he lovingly looked at Ni Yang saying, Yang, come and sit here. Uncle Six got a lot of your favorite fruits yesterday. Old Mrs. Mo chimed in, yes, Yang, come here. The two elders seemed like they would give Ni Yang anything good from their house. They showered Ni Yang with affection, their eyes practically blossoming with flowers. Old Mrs. Mo handed Ni Yang a peeled lychee. Yang, here, eat more lychees. They're sweet. These grapes are also delicious. Uncle Six, quickly peel some for Yang. Old man, go cut a fruit plate for Yang. There are watermelons and mangoes in the kitchen. Mo Chishan. He felt a little left out as a son. A black jeep stopped in front of the girls' dormitory. Mo Baichuan, frosty and cool, got out of the driver's seat, ignored the men's stop sign and went straight into the dormitory. Mo Baichuan was tall and handsome. His appearance drew the admiration and attention of many girls wherever he walked. Mo Baichuan pushed the dormitory door open. Xianxia was writing an essay on the table when she was startled by the sudden noise. Who? When she looked up and saw the handsome face of Mo Baichuan, the word ah caught in her throat. Baichuan. Xianxia looked at him with surprise. How come you're here? Mo Baichuan pulled Xianxia up. Xianxia, don't you want to be my girlfriend? Ah. Xianxia blushed. I'm asking you, do you want to be my girlfriend? Mo Baichuan asked again. Xianxia suppressed her excitement. Baichuan, why are you asking me this? Was Mo Baichuan confessing his love to her? The day she had been waiting for, had it finally arrived? Xianxia felt that her heart was leaping out of her chest. Mo Baichuan repeated impatiently, I ask you, do you want to be my girlfriend? Xianxia knew Mo Baichuan too well. She knew that he was not a man of sentimentality. He was aloof and not good at expressing feelings. It was already a big step for him to have come this far. So, she had to seize this opportunity. Yes. Xianxia bashfully nodded her head. Mo Baichuan was satisfied and said, good, I'll give you the chance to be my girlfriend right now. Really? Li Xianxian felt as if her heart was no longer her own. She was finally waiting for this day. Mo Baichuan continued, "Go change your clothes now." Li Xianxian was a bit taken back. "Change your clothes?" Mo Baichuan said, "Put on your prettiest outfit." Was this a date? Li Xianxian was excited. Okay. Wait for me, Baichuan." Mo Baichuan's face remained expressionless. "I'll wait for you downstairs." Okay. Li Xianxian nodded excitedly. Mo Baichuan turned around and walked downstairs. Li Xianxian opened her wardrobe, selected her best dress, sat in front of the makeup table, and began to paint her eyebrows and do her makeup carefully. Her roommate, Zhang Yingying, came in from outside and said excitedly, "Xianxian, I saw a certain someone's car downstairs. Is Mr. Mo waiting for you?" Li Xianxian was a little embarrassed. "You figured me out." Zhang Yingying was curious. "Xianxian, are you and Mr. Mo together now?" Li Xianxian bashfully nodded. "He just confessed his feelings to me." "Really?" Zhang Yingying exclaimed with envy. "Really?" Li Xianxian put down the eyeshadow. "I can't talk anymore. I need to go. Baichuan is still waiting downstairs for me." Okay, go ahead." Li Xianxian was a talented woman, and Mo Baichuan was a big shot. They were absolutely perfect together. It wasn't long before Li Xianxian came to the bottom of the building. Mo Baichuan was sitting tight behind the wheel, his face tense. Seeing Li Xianxian getting into the car, he said, "Buckle up." "All right." Li Xianxian lowered her head to fasten her seatbelt. The black Jeep sped along. As the road became more and more familiar, she asked, "Baichuan, where are you taking me?" Mo Baichuan replied, "Back to my house." Back to his house? Was this getting serious? Li Xianxian was stunned. Having visited the Mo family on numerous occasions, this time felt different. She was going as Baichuan's girlfriend. Li Xianxian said hesitantly, "Should I prepare any gifts? Are Uncle Mo and Auntie Mo at home?" Mo Baichuan's parents didn't live in Beijing, but at their old house in Jiangnan. They only came back occasionally during the holidays. "Right now, only my grandparents are at home." "Oh." Li Xianxian nodded. Li Xianxian wasn't too worried about Mo's grandparents as they were quite fond of her. What she was worried about were Mo Kishin's parents. The last time she left an impression on Mo Baichuan's parents, it was not particularly good. With Mo Baichuan driving rapidly, it wasn't long before they arrived at the Mo's household. When they got out of the car, Mo Baichuan held onto Li Xianxian's arm. "Let's go in." "Okay." Li Xianxian nodded. The living room was bustling with activity. Yet, Li Xianxian did not feel any warmth from the Mo family. Li Xianxian squinted her eyes slightly. Mo Baichuan pulled Li Xianxian in front of everyone, formally announcing, "Grandpa, Grandma, Uncle 6, Cousin, and future Aunt 6, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend, Li Xianxian." Chapter 385. Jealous? Go take the exam. _1 Upon hearing this, there was some silence in the living room. Although Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo had hoped that Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian could get together in the past, they were disappointed by Li Xianxian's recent behavior. Especially after the incident about the gift dress was exposed by Grandma Jing, Mo Rongping and Xiu Jiao had gone out of their way to discuss this matter with Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo. They felt that Li Xianxian was too vain and did not match up with Mo Baichuan. Consequently, Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo had given up the idea of setting the two of them up. Unexpectedly, when they had tried to pair these two in the past, they had not gotten together, but now that they left them alone, they had unexpectedly ended up together. What's going on? Grandpa Mo and Grandma Mo looked at each other and saw the dilemma in each other's eyes. A flicker of displeasure flashed in Li Xianxian's eyes but was quickly gone. What kind of reaction was that from Grandpa and Grandma Mo? Didn't they like her a lot before? And what about Ni Yang? How did Mo Baichuan introduce her just now? Ni Yang was going to be his future aunt? Could it be that Ni Yang really had gotten together with Mo Qixin? She didn't know if Ni Yang was really with Mo Qixin, or if it was just a trick to attract Mo Baichuan. After all, Ni Yang could get closer to Mo Baichuan through Mo Qixin. No, she could not let her guard down. As long as Yang was alive, she would not find peace. Xianxia suppressed her thoughts and said softly, "Hello, Grandpa and Grandma, Aunt, Uncle, future aunt." Grandma Mo was the first to react and said with a smile, "Xianxian, sit down, don't be shy." "Thank you, Grandma." Xianxian sat down on the sofa. Mo Baichuan also sat down at the same time. His gaze unconsciously swept over Yang, trying to find any clues. Unfortunately, there weren't any. Even when he publicly declared Xianxian as his girlfriend in front of Yang, she didn't show any special expressions. What did Yang want to do? Was she putting on a show for him? Mo Baichuan clenched his fists, his lowered eyelids hiding the emotions in his eyes. Xianxian gently laid her hand on Mo Baichuan's, looked over at Yang, and a hint of triumphant smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. So what if Yang had her eyes on Mo Baichuan? The one who got Mo Baichuan in the end was her. She would absolutely not let anyone take Mo Baichuan away from her. Grandma Mo continued, "Xianxian, you can eat any fruit you like. Don't be shy." While saying this, Grandma Mo handed a peeled tangerine to Yang. Yang smiled and took it. "Thank you, Anima." Xianxian's face looked a bit unpleasant. She felt that Yang had taken away the treatment she deserved. After all, before Yang arrived, she was the apple of Grandma Mo's eye, and Grandma Mo would love to give her all the goodness of the world. "You little bitch." Just as Yang finished eating the tangerine, Mo Chishan handed her a peeled lychee. "How about another lychee?" Yang shook her head. "I'd like to eat some grapes." "All right." Mo Chishan nodded, picked up a grape, and carefully peeled it. A moment later, Mo Chishan offered the peeled grape to Yang. Yang took the grape with her mouth, her red lips accidentally brushed his finger, and the slightly cool contact felt like an electric shock. Mo Chishan's ears turned a shade of red as he stared at her moist lips covered with grape juice. He was suddenly seized by an impulse to kiss her. They must be sweeter than grapes. The grape had seeds. As Yang was about to spit out the seed, Mo Chishan reached out his hand. "Just spit it on my hand." Looking at Mo Chishan, then at Mo Baichuan beside her, Xianxian felt that Yang was overly dramatic and showed too much. Just because Mo Chishan likes her, she started acting arrogantly and forgot who she really was. Women should naturally serve men, but Yang, on the contrary, let men serve her. She has no sense of propriety. Xianxian picked up a banana, peeled it, and handed it to Mo Baichuan. "Baichuan, eat the banana." Without comparison, there is no harm. She wanted everyone to see how virtuous and good she was. What did Yang have to compare with her? Mo Baichuan took a bite, his eyes hiding a dangerous glint, because the scene in front of him was too glaring. He didn't know why he cared so much about Yang. Undoubtedly, Yang was deliberately putting on a show for him, but he still couldn't help feeling angry and upset. Chapter 386. Jealous? Go take the exam. _2. No way. Why should he be the only one suffering? He wanted Yang to taste this feeling too. He didn't believe that Yang would remain indifferent after seeing how good he was to Xianxian. He would make Yang show her true colors and bow her arrogant head to him. The taste is good. Mo Baichuan gave Xianxian a small smile. "I'm glad you like it." Xianxian bashfully asked, "Baichuan, would you like some water?" Mo Baichuan nodded. Xianxian held the cup to Mo Baichuan's mouth, gently reminding him, "Drink slowly, be careful, it's hot." The expressions of Mr. and Mrs. Mo were somewhat complicated. The atmosphere was warm before Xianxian came. However, when Mo Baichuan brought Xianxian, the atmosphere changed. It felt strange. There was an indescribable feeling. Mo Chishan turned to Yang. "Yang, want to visit my room?" "Okay." Yang nodded. After bidding farewell to Mr. and Mrs. Mo Chishan led Yang upstairs. Mo Baichuan watched their departing figures, veins pulsating on the back of his hand. Xianxian's glance slid across Mo Baichuan's hand, a hint of a sinister light flashed in her eyes. "Baichuan." Mr. Mo stood up. "Come with me." All right, Grandpa. Mo Baichuan got up and followed Mr. Mo. Mrs. Mo looked at Li Xianxian and said, Xianxian, I'm going to check the kitchen. Grandma, I'll go with you. Li Xianxian dutifully supported Mrs. Mo's arm. The chefs in the kitchen were busy, the air filled with a tantalizing aroma. To welcome Yang, the Mo family had specifically invited a world-renowned chef. Seeing all this, Li Xianxian felt overwhelmed. She didn't expect that Mr. and Mrs. Mo seemed colder towards her on the surface, but in secret, they prepared all this extravagantly. They even invited an internationally renowned chef. Of course, the Mo family couldn't have arranged this alone, this had to be Mo Baichuan's doing. After all, the power of Mr. Mog in Beijing is unparalleled. Just thinking about becoming Mrs. Mog, Li Xianxian felt incredibly honored. Mrs. Mo chuckled. Remember to add more chili when you cook. Li Xianxian was puzzled. Grandma, don't you and Grandpa dislike spicy food? To cater to the tastes of the Mo family, Li Xianxian had long adjusted her diet to be less spicy. Mrs. Mo smiled. Yang likes it. Yang likes it? The chef invited by Mo Baichuan, cooking dishes that Yang likes? Was Mrs. Mo forgetting who the guest of honor is? This is too outrageous. She is clearly Mo Baichuan's official girlfriend, yet Yang is receiving treatment that was originally intended for her. Li Xianxian discreetly furrowed her brows, jealousy seeping from her eyes. What on earth was Mrs. Mo thinking? Had she lost her mind? Upstairs, in the study, the atmosphere was somewhat stifling. Mr. Mo stood in front of his desk. Baichuan, what's going on with you and Xianxian? Mo Baichuan replied, Li Xianxian is my girlfriend now, isn't that what you and Grandma have always wanted? Mr. Mo continued, Baichuan, your grandmother and I have talked about this. We had mistaken judgment before, Xianxian is not right for you. Why won't you listen? Mr. and Mrs. Mo had discussed this issue with Mo Baichuan before. Mo Baichuan didn't react much at the time. Little did they expect that in just a few months, Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian would end up together. Mo Baichuan responded, Grandpa, I'm a human being, not an object. I can't control my emotions. I can't just like someone because you want me to. Li Xianxian and I have spent a lot of time together, certain things are beyond my control now. These words seemed like his true feelings, but at the same time felt casually tossed out. It was hard to tell what was true and what was false. Mr. Mo sighed. Regarding this matter, your grandma and I are also to blame. We shouldn't have interfered with matters of the heart. Baichuan, you're a smart boy. Think about this carefully. From our observations over this period, Xianxian isn't as simple as we initially thought. Mo Baichuan replied, Grandpa, I'm afraid I might disappoint you this time because I truly like Li Xianxian. Chapter 387. Feeling jealous, huh? Go take the exam. _3. Subconsciously, as Mo Baichuan spoke, an image of a face as beautiful as a blooming flower appeared in his mind. It was Yang. Mo Baichuan had met many girls, but their spirits were all the same, including Li Xianxian's. Only Yang was different. Even knowing that Yang was deliberately playing hard to get, he was still attracted to her. Although he didn't want to admit it, that was the truth. So everything he was doing now was to provoke Yang and cause her to lose her footing. Old Master Mo helplessly shook his head. Is there really no room for reversal in this matter? No. Mo Baichuan shook his head resolutely. Old Master Mo sighed. Mo Baichuan continued, Grandpa, you have such a strong objection to Li Xianxian, why don't you have any objections to Yang? Although Li Xianxian was dull, she was at least sincere, brave enough to face her own feelings. Unlike Yang, who was inscrutable and manipulative. Old Master Mo frowned slightly. Yang is a good girl. As a junior, you are not allowed to disrespect your elders. Although Yang was younger, but since she was with Mo Qishan, she was indeed an elder to Mo Baichuan. Mo Baichuan retorted, Where do you see her as a good girl? Baichuan. Old Master Mo said with a heavier tone. Mo Baichuan, feeling an injustice, continued, Grandpa, Yang isn't as simple as you think. Let me tell you the truth, When I was on a mission in Dam Village, I met her once. After that, she chased me all the way to Beijing. In the end, she won your and Grandma's favor. Actually, she was always scheming, trying every means to get close to me. The reason she is with my uncle this time is also because of me. Otherwise, why would you think Ni Yang would be interested in my uncle? Mo Qishan was just a good-for-nothing pretty boy who was even dumped once. Anyone with a bit of common sense wouldn't be interested in him. Therefore, the reason why Ni Yang was with Mo Qishan was definitely to get closer to him. Old Master Mo frowned deeper. He was not a fool. He knew Ni Yang was not the kind of person Mo Baichuan said she was. Also, the feelings between Mo Qishan and Ni Yang were not faked. Due to Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao's busy professional schedules, Mo Baichuan was raised by his grandparents since childhood. Mo Baichuan was a very sensible child, much more so than most of his peers. But this time, Mo Baichuan had really disappointed Old Master Mo. Nonsense. Old Master Mo rebuked angrily. Yang is not the kind of person you say she is. Baichuan, you've gone too far. Baichuan, do you have any kind of filial piety left in you? Grandpa, I'm not talking nonsense. Mo Baichuan replied, it's you who can't see the reality. You insolent brat. Old Master Mo, feeling frustrated, ordered, kneel down. Mo Baichuan knelt down with a thud. Old Master Mo picked up a family discipline tool and severely spanked Mo Baichuan's back. This is for your lack of respect. This is for your inability to distinguish right from wrong. This is for your arrogance. Baichuan, do you acknowledge your mistake now? Old Master Mo did not hold back. Each blow left a deep red mark. Mo Baichuan didn't even wrinkle his brow. I'm not wrong. Have you or have you not made a mistake? Old Master Mo increased his efforts with his hand. I'm not wrong. A layer of sweat appeared on Mo Baichuan's forehead. Mo Baichuan. Old Master Mo ground his teeth and threw away the family discipline tool. Mo Baichuan got up from the ground. Grandpa, it's understandable that you would favor your son, and I don't blame you. But one day you will know that the person who is wrong is not me, but you. Upon hearing this, Old Master Mo almost had a stroke. You insolent fool, do you even know what you are saying? Old Master Mo massaged his temples. Mo Baichuan looked at Old Master Mo. You know what kind of reputation my uncle has outside. How can you believe that Ni Yang would be interested in him? Although Mo Qishan was incompetent, he was still an elder to Mo Baichuan. Regardless, Mo Baichuan should not speak to Mo Qishan in this manner. Get out. Old Master Mo pointed to the door. Get out. Mo Baichuan bowed slightly, speaking respectfully. Grandpa, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. Chapter 388. Jealous? Go take the exam. _4. Mo Baichuan nonchalantly left the study. Downstairs in the living room, Xianxia was helping old lady Mo walk out of the kitchen. Back to Ni Yang and Mo Qishan's rooms. A lot of time has passed, and I still don't know what Ni Yang and Mo Qishan are up to in their rooms. Mo Baichuan gripped the stair railing tighter, his gaze leading across the way. It landed on Mo Qishan's bedroom. Mo Qishan's bedroom was decorated cozily. Mo Qishan was introducing each item to Ni Yang. Yang, this is my elementary school graduation photo. This one is from junior high. The pictures from that era were all black and white, but it was clear that Mo Qishan's face was extraordinarily juvenile, much smaller than the classmates he stood with. Brother Mo, did you start school really early? Mo Qishan replied, probably because I skipped several grades, so I seemed younger than my classmates. Ni Yang nodded. I never realized. You're really quite smart. Mo Qishan stroked his chin and confessed unabashedly, if I weren't smart, how could I have pursued you? Stay humble, stay humble. Ni Yang laughed lightly. Mo Qishan then brought out a small wooden box. These are the marbles I used to play with when I was little. Marbles, also known as glass balls. Typically boys played with them more. Ni Yang took the small wooden box, squatted on the floor, and flicked the marbles out. I used to play with these when I was a kid too. They should be played like this. Mo Chishan took out a marble and gently flicked it. Pop! The two marbles collided, making a crisp sound. Impressive! Ni Yang extended a thumbs up toward him. The two of them had great fun, and soon, small marbles were scattered all over the room. Mo Kishan's room was filled with various little trinkets, even including a game console that could be connected to a TV. This game console was the first generation produced by Nintendo. It is called the Famicom and was released in early 1983. It was not easy to get hold of one in those days. Not only did one need money, but also connections. Ni Yang hadn't seen such an old game console in a long time, so she couldn't help but touch it a few more times. Mo Chishan said, Yang, want to play a couple of games together? Sure. Mo Chishan turned on the game console, connected it to the TV, and started showing Ni Yang how to play the game. It was actually a very simple game of Super Mario. Ni Yang had played this game in her previous life, so she understood how to play it as soon as Mo Chishan showed her. The two of them had no communication barriers. Mo Chishan looked at Ni Yang with admiration. How was his wife so clever? She picks up things at the drop of a hat. They were playing a two-person game of Super Mario. It was perfect for them to play together. As the familiar game music sounded, Ni Yang began to operate the game controller. Brother Mo, there's a mushroom above the question mark, hit it. Hurry up and eat it. Beware of the brick. Oh no. Brother Mo, you're so dumb. Although Super Mario was simple, it was far more interesting than the game Agricultural Chemical of later generations. Laughter echoed in the room. Mo Chishan looked at Ni Yang's focused profile, and his deep eyes were filled with her reflection. Brother Mo, you died again. You're just too stupid. Mo Chishan touched his nose, looking innocent. It's not my fault. Then whose fault is it? Ni Yang raised an eyebrow. Mo Chishan looked at her and said, I was just distracted. And why would you be so eloquent? Ni Yang pinched his left cheek, her eyes glowing with laughter. Just then, a knock came from outside the door. Little Six, bring Yang down for dinner. Okay, we're coming. Mo Chishan responded. Shall we go, Yang? Ni Yang nodded. The two of them got up to leave the room. The floor was littered with marbles. Ni Yang didn't pay attention and stepped on one. Instantly, she lost her balance and fell forward uncontrollably. Luckily, Mo Chishan reacted quickly and reached out his hands to catch her. Unfortunately, he also stepped on a marble. And so, they both ended up falling on the floor together. Thud! Ni Yang's teeth hit Mo Chishan's lips hard. Immediately, there was a taste of blood in their mouths. She was stunned. He was stunned. Mo Chishan's mind went blank. Did he just kiss his wife? So exciting. So thrilling. He wished he could just stay like this and never get up. Ni Yang was the first to react. Nervously she asked, Brother, are you okay? Does it hurt? Chapter 389. Feeling jealous, huh? Go take the exam. _5. The hit she had given him earlier was unexpectedly hard, causing Mo Chishan's lower lip to swell and bleed. It doesn't hurt, not in the slightest, Mo Chishan said, with an indifferent expression on his face. Ni Yang asked, Does it really not hurt? Do you need to stop the bleeding? Or perhaps relieve the poison? No need, Mo Chishan nonchalantly said. Let's go, our mom is already waiting for us downstairs. Are you sure you're all right? Ni Yang was still slightly worried. I'm really all right. Mo Chishan held on to Ni Yang's wrist and guided her downstairs. Downstairs in the restaurant, everyone was gathered. Madame Mo's eyes, expressionless and still, traveled back and forth between the two before settling on Mo Chishan's lips, a smile hidden in her gaze. Mo Hudi curiously asked, Little uncle, what happened to your mouth? Hearing this, everyone looked towards Mo Chishan. Mo Baichuan's face darkened immediately. Was Ni Yang purposely provoking him? She was absolutely out of line. Mo Chishan explained, I accidentally bumped into the wall when coming downstairs. This explanation was worse than offering none. Could you hurt yourself this severely from just bumping into a wall? It was more like he was trying to cover up the fact. Mo Hudi, still an innocent child, nodded and said, "Ooh, you need to be careful next time, little uncle." Ni Yang's face turned slightly red as she silently sipped her juice. Mo Chishan peeled some crab meat and placed it into Ni Yang's bowl. "Yang, would you like to dip it in vinegar?" "Just a little." Midway through the meal, Ni Yang excused herself to go to the bathroom. Just after she left, Mo Baichuan immediately followed suit. Ni Yang had just left the restroom when she found her path obstructed by a tall figure. Ni Yang, uninterested in dealing with him, planned to walk around him, but Mo Baichuan blocked her again. "A good dog does not block the way," Ni Yang said with a slight frown. "Ni Yang, just what are you trying to do? Are you out of your mind?" Mo Baichuan then said, "I want you to leave my sixth uncle immediately." Ni Yang responded, speechless, "Mo Baichuan, is that how you speak to your future sixth aunt?" Mo Baichuan replied, "Ni Yang, you have successfully gotten my attention." Ni Yang hadn't expected that even up till now, Mo Baichuan would still think she was playing hard to get. She had already explained everything clearly. She didn't know where Mo Baichuan's sense of superiority came from. "Move aside," Ni Yang said, tired of dealing with him. "Ni Yang." Mo Baichuan reached out to stop her. Ni Yang quickly used a grappling technique to throw Mo Baichuan to the ground, and said from a higher position, "Mo Baichuan, just how many times do I have to tell you, I have no interest in you? When will you get that through your head?" Mo Baichuan looked at Ni Yang, a complex emotion silently brewing in his eyes. Ni Yang, was she faking it? At this moment, Mo Baichuan began to feel unsure. Ni Yang turned around and headed back to the restaurant. Back at the table, Madame Mo and Sir Mo enthusiastically picked food for Ni Yang. But Mo Chishan was unusually quiet. This was indeed abnormal. "Big brother Mo, what's wrong?" Under the table, Ni Yang gently tickled Mo Chishan's palm with her pinky. Mo Chishan picked up a dish of vinegar from the table, downing it all in one go before looking at Ni Yang with a wronged expression. "Yang, I'm jealous." Ni Yang had just left, and Mo Baichuan followed suit. Considering Mo Baichuan's unusual behavior today, it was hard not to let Mo Chishan overthink. Ni Yang softly laughed. "Big brother Mo, don't worry, you'll be able to explain everything clearly." Mo Chishan firmly held Ni Yang's hand. The interaction between the two was all witnessed by Mo Baichuan, whose face turned even more unsightly. He willingly reached out to pick a dish for Xianxia. Xianxia had been having a tough time today at the Mo family. Madame Mo and Sir Mo had completely ignored her at the dinner table, continuously making small talk with Ni Yang. But she was comforted by Mo Baichuan's act. His initiative in serving her food signified that he cared for her. After the meal, Mo Chishan escorted Ni Yang home. Ni Yang sat on the crossbar, leaning against Mo Chishan, as she explained how she became acquainted with Mo Baichuan. Ni Yang detailed everything, and Mo Chishan listened attentively. "So you're telling me that you met Mo Baichuan before you met me?" Mo Chishan didn't add nephew when referring to Mo Baichuan, his face looking unpleasant. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't jealous. How could he not be jealous? He had never liked someone this much before. "What's the point of meeting someone earlier?" Ni Yang said with a smile. "I knew Air Matzi from our village when we were still running around bare-bottomed." Chapter 390, Jealous, Go Take the Exam. _6. What? Mo Chishan slightly frowns. Ni Yang continued, "Being bare-assed is just a metaphor, brother Mo. All you need to know is that when you met me has nothing to do with liking me or not. Speaking of that, your big nephew is really narcissistic. I think I was clear enough with him, yet he's still acting like that." Ni Yang couldn't help but complain. Mo Chishan's expression turned a bit cold. "He's just too free." "I think so too." Ni Yang went on, "By the way, brother Mo, our house is going to be roofed on the 1st of next month. Do you want to come over?" Roofing a house is significant, and Mo Chishan knows something about this tradition. "I will definitely come for this important event in my wife's family." Ni Yang smiled. "You scruffy thing, are you embarrassed?" Mo Chishan sniffed the fresh scent from her hair. From now on, Don't interact with Mo Baichuan anymore, and don't be alone with him. And Yang raised 3 fingers. I swear. Now that they'd spoken about their issues, the distance between them seemed to be a lot smaller. 3 days before the roofing, Yang went to school to participate in the entrance exam for senior year transfer students. Due to the recommendation from Jia Lan's husband, Yang was exempt from registration and came directly with a recommendation letter to take the exam. Yang took her introduction letter to the principal. Hello, Principal Zhao. I was introduced by Teacher Zhang, and I came to take the exam today. Principal Zhao took the introduction letter, secretly marveling at her. What a brilliant young lady. I wonder how her grades are. Presumably, the grades aren't great, otherwise, Zhang Chang would have directly admitted her to his class. Why would he let her go through this roundabout process and come to take the exam? God is always fair. Gifted with a pretty face, she doesn't seem to be blessed with an interest in studying hard, however. After reading the introduction letter carefully, Principal Zhao cheerfully said, Yang, right? You can go to the first floor of Building A for now. A teacher will arrange and distribute your admission tickets there. Okay, thank you, Principal. Yang bowed slightly and then left the principal's office. Such a polite girl, Principal Zhao had a gratified expression in his eyes. Yang made her way to Building A. There were many people coming to take the exam, roughly 200 to 300. About 2/3 of them were locals, and the remaining third came from all over the country. Because she was here for the exam, Yang didn't wear a cheongsam but put on a light blue shirt with opposite buttons and black wide-leg pants. Her age-appropriate vivacity shone through the simple outfit, without making her look too mature. She looked absolutely beautiful. Standing in the crowd, she attracted quite a few people's attention. A girl also there for the exam proactively greeted Yang. Hello, my name is Han Xiaoyu. Are you here for the exam too? Yang nodded. I am Yang. To Xiaoyu's surprise, Yang was very friendly. Xiaoyu went on, I heard this year's math and English exams are particularly hard. How was your home preparation? I'm so nervous. Xiaoyu anxiously wrung her hands. Yang smiled. Don't be nervous, just stay calm. Sometimes too much stress can lead to psychological pressure. Even a small issue will be magnified in your eyes. Yang's response was too calm. It didn't fit with kids of her age. Xiaoyu exclaimed, Yang, you're incredible. Your grades must be really good. Yang responded, not as exaggerated as you say, I'm just pretty laid back. What does laid back mean? Xiaoyu asked, confused. Yang explained, being laid back means you're okay with anything, you don't care about the results. Han Xiaoyu nodded, envious. Yang, I wish I could be like you. Yang went on, don't overthink it, don't put pressure on yourself. Let your brain relax completely. Just treat this exam as a normal one. Just then, an odd female voice arose from the side. You talk a good game. Just show us your real score if you're that capable. Sly fox. Yang looked up and saw a tall girl. Han Xiaoyu tugged at Yang's sleeve. That's Zhou Xueme. She's always sour and jealous if anyone looks better than her. Yang, just ignore her. Yang nodded, not paying any attention to Zhou Xueme. She came here for the exam, not to pick fights. About 10 teachers came over after a while, distributing the admission tickets. The admission ticket displayed the exam room. By chance, Yang and Han Xiaoyu happened to be in the same room. The exam schedule was quite tight. Chinese, English, math, and history were in the morning. Politics, physics, chemistry, and biology were in the afternoon. The ringing of the exam bell plunged the room into an intense atmosphere, filled with the rustling sound of flipping pages. The exam papers of this era were manually printed, and there was a smell of ink in the air. Yang particularly enjoyed this smell. She took a deep breath, then started carefully filling in her name and student number. Then she began the exam. The Chinese exam was no challenge for her since she was a patriotic person. She finished the 1-hour exam 25 minutes early. After finishing, she carefully checked again. Once confirmed there were no errors, she rested her hands on her forehead and closed her eyes, taking a quick nap. She had stayed up half the night reviewing for today's exam. Given that this was an exam, Xianxia dared not sleep openly. But the invigilation teacher's eyes were sharp. As teachers, they typically don't like students who lack ambition. Seeing Xianxia sleeping, they could only shake their heads helplessly. Kids these days, they're getting worse and worse. What's the name of that young lady sleeping there? The speaker was Xianxia, the husband of Jialan and Xianxia's recommender. Although he had written a recommendation letter for Xianxia, he had never met her, so it was normal for him not to recognize her. Another teacher said, "I heard this young lady's name is Xianxia. Right, Zhang, isn't she recommended by you?" Because Xianxia was beautiful, many teachers remembered her face. "Is that Xianxia?" Zhang looked surprised. At the same time, he felt relief. He was glad he didn't admit Xianxia directly to his class. This would simply slow down the whole class and reduce the college admission rate. What a relief! Zhang took a deep breath. "How come, you don't even recognize the student you introduced?" Zhang said, "To be honest, this girl was introduced by a friend of my wife's. I really don't know her." "Zhang, it's a good thing you didn't let her directly into your class." Zhang nodded. "Isn't it?" A teacher next to him chimed in, "Can't deny it, the young girl is pretty beautiful, just that her study attitude seems a bit lacking." Chapter 391. The results are out. A slap in the face came so fast. _1 Zhang said, "This girl obviously doesn't have the temperament of a studious student. I guess my wife must have had a lapse in judgment this time." The other two teachers nearby nodded in agreement. She indeed doesn't seem to be the type. Another female teacher said, "Don't judge a book by its cover. No one can fathom the vast ocean. Just because this girl is pretty doesn't imply she is poor in academics. Perhaps she had already finished her test paper before falling asleep? It's only been half an hour. Others barely have enough time, unless she's a prodigy. How many prodigies could there possibly be in this world?" An hour of exam time quickly came to an end. The students sitting in the first row began collecting answer papers. Xianxia's seat happened to be in the middle. With a stack of papers in his hand, Zhang contemplated pulling out Xianxia's sheet to have a look. However, he ditched the idea halfway. What was he thinking? He was actually harboring hope for a student who had slept during the exam. That was quite silly. Chuckling and shaking his head, Zhang, together with some other teachers, took the answer papers to the staff room to be handed over to the teachers in charge of grading. The next exam was mathematics. Xianxia was a businesswoman. Math had always been her strong suit, so math didn't pose any difficulty for her. However, just as everyone claimed, each math question was indeed very tough. As soon as the exam ended, the air was filled with the sound of sighs. "Xianxia, do you think the math paper was difficult?" Han Xiaoyu walked over to Xianxia and asked with a worrisome expression. Xianxia gave a light smile, put away her stationery and replied, "I think it was fine. How about you? What's your feel?" Han Xiaoyu sighed, "I am not sure either. Xianxia, shall we compare our answers?" "Sure." Xianxia nodded in agreement. Han Xiaoyu had written all her answers on a piece of scratch paper. Comparing their answers for a while, Xianxia assured her, "Xiaoyu, your answers are almost perfect. You really don't need to worry." "Really?" Han Xiaoyu asked in surprise. Xianxia nodded. "However, I remember choosing C for this question." "Was the answer to this question C?" Han Xiaoyu scratched her head and continued, "Given the set A equals XX equals 2 wasn't the answer supposed to be B? I also selected B for this question." Hearing both of them discussing it, the short-haired girl sitting in front of them turned around to join the discussion. Xianxia explained, "This question is often mistakenly answered as B, probably due to a misunderstanding of the elements of the set. Set A represents the set of odd numbers, and set B equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, the correct answer should be C." The short-haired girl clutched her hair in regret. "Oh my God. I didn't attempt the last question, and I got this question wrong too. I might fail." Seeing them discussing the exam question, a few others gathered around. Are you guys discussing the fifth question of multiple choice? Yes, Han Xiaoyu nodded and said, exactly, it's the fifth question. One of them frowned slightly and said, the correct answer to this question should be B, right? I also chose B. Me too. Almost everyone had chosen B for this question. Zhou Xuemei walked over with a sarcastic smile. The answer to this question is B. Some people deliberately pretend to know when they don't and try to attract everyone's attention. I wonder what their intentions are. What intentions? Show-off intentions, of course. Just because she is pretty, she thinks the whole world should revolve around her. Zhou Xuemei despised this kind of siren the most. She could tell she's no good, pretending to know when she doesn't. And Yang looked up with a smile. No matter what I say here, the truth is always more persuasive. Whether the correct answer is B or C, everyone will know when the results are out. She wasn't in a hurry to argue with everyone, maintaining her calm and composed demeanor throughout. Her serene and elegant personality strongly contrasted with the sarcastic Zhou Xuemei. Zhou Xuemei bit her lip resentfully. So, you mean that all of us got it wrong and only you got it right? There were more than 30 people in the examination room. How could it be possible that only Yang got it right? Yang responded in a light tone. The results will be announced in 3 days. By then everyone will naturally see the answer. And what if you lose? Zhou Xuemei persisted. What do you think? Yang threw the question back at Zhou Xuemei. Zhou Xuemei puffed up her chest. If you lose, you will have to admit you were acting pretentious to gain attention and you have to apologize to me. Agreed. Yang nodded, then asked counterintuitively, and what if you lose? Chapter 392. The results are out. A slap in the face came so fast understood. Zhou Xuemei exclaimed, how could I possibly lose? Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Does that mean you can't afford to lose? Absolutely not. Zhou Xuemei continued, if I lose, I'll apologize to you. We should add one more condition. Yang responded calmly. What condition? Zhou Xuemei asked. With a casual demeanor, Yang slightly lifted her eyelids to look at Zhou Xuemei. I want you to admit that you're jealous of me. Yang wasn't molded from clay. She couldn't tolerate Zhou Xuemei continuously pushing her limits. Zhou Xuemei's face turned pale and then flushed when Yang revealed her inner thoughts. What are you talking about? Who's jealous of you? Yang only smiled and chose to not waste words. She said directly, just state whether you're willing to make the bet. Bet? Of course, I'll bet. Zhou Xuemei replied confidently, she wasn't going to lose. All the students present today will be our witnesses. Let's seal the bet with a high five. Yang extended her hand and high-fived her. After the brief rest period, the English exam began. The atmosphere during the English exam was even more intense than the math one. English had just been added to the college entrance exam, so the questions were relatively simple and the test was divided into 6 parts. 1. Word pronunciation. 2. Word spelling. 3. Word definition. 4. Sentence transformation. 5. Multiple choice. 6. Verb completion. In less than half an hour, Yang completed the test and rested her head for a nap. To prevent cheating, different invigilators were present for each test. Zhang Chang was scheduled to patrol several examination rooms. When he saw Yang sleeping again, he sighed. Only 25 minutes had passed and Yang was asleep again. He wondered what the point was of her taking the transfer student exam in this manner. Isn't this a waste of a quota? If he had known this beforehand, he wouldn't have agreed with Jia Lan to give Yang this opportunity. If the principal saw this, it would reflect poorly. After the English exam was history. Yang's knowledge of history was extensive, so she didn't find the history exam challenging either. After 4 exams in the morning, it was time for lunch. They could eat either outside the school or in the school cafeteria. Even though a meal ticket was needed to eat in the cafeteria, the school had allowed direct cash payment due to the large number of people appearing for the exam today. Yang, where are you going to eat? Han Xiaoyu approached Yang. Yang smiled and said, I can eat anywhere, what about you? Han Xiaoyu said, then shall we eat in the cafeteria? It's too far outside and I don't feel like walking. Sure. Enai Yang nodded. Let's go then. Han Xiaoyu linked her arm with Enai Yang's. The two of them walked towards the cafeteria together. The high school's cafeteria was very large, with 3 floors in total. At lunchtime, the cafeteria was jam-packed, with long lines at every counter. Of course, some students who had rushed managed to start eating at their tables already. It was a difficult time. Many students could only afford plain white rice, not even vegetables. Accompanied by a small bottle of pickles, they could eat several servings of rice. As soon as Enai Yang and Han Xiaoyu arrived in the cafeteria, they caused quite a stir. She was so beautiful. Not only was she beautiful, but she also had a unique aura that couldn't be concealed even in her old-fashioned shirt. It was as if she had stepped out of a painting. Wow. Which class is she in? She's so beautiful. I've never seen her before. Today our school is conducting a transfer student exam. She must be here for that. She's so beautiful. I wonder what she ate to grow up like this. I really want to know her name. In those times, people were quite innocent. Even if they were really interested, they wouldn't have the courage to approach her directly. For the first time in her life, Han Xiaoyu drew the attention of so many people, and it left her inexplicably nervous. She looked at Enai Yang beside her, and there wasn't a hint of unease on her face. How much must a person grow to be so at ease and unaffected by insults or praise? Inside, Han Xiaoyu couldn't help but be slightly in awe of Enai Yang. The two of them got in line at the counter. A few boys were in front of them. As the boys took their meals and started to walk away, one of them suddenly stopped. Enai Yang? Chapter 393. The results are out. A slap in the face came so fast. _3. Enai Yang glanced slightly upward, meeting the gaze of a slightly tender and handsome face. Li Wei. Li Wei looked surprised. Enai Yang, what are you doing here? This place was a city high school, and Enai Yang was just a small-scale business owner. How did she get in? Enai Yang politely replied, I'm here to take the transfer student's exam. It was only then that Li Wei remembered there was a transfer student's exam today. Enai Yang's math grades were good, her English grades were also good. Could she really get admitted as a transfer student? If that was really the case, wouldn't Enai Yang become his schoolmate in the future? For a moment, Li Wei felt a mix of emotions. He even wished that Enai Yang would perform terribly in all of her exams today. Because only in this way could he feel superior in front of her. But no, Enai Yang actually came to take the exams. Li Wei nodded slightly, then said, You must have done very well in the exam today, right? Enai Yang said, I did all right. Oh. Li Wei nodded again, his face failing to hide his disappointment. Just then, it was almost Enai Yang's turn to order lunch. She continued, My turn is coming up, I won't keep chatting. All right. Li Wei also left with the other students around him. As soon as he turned his back, the students next to Li Wei began to ask curiously, Li Wei, what is your relationship with that pretty girl just now? What's her name again? Wuxiang? What are her grades usually like? Can she get into our school? Well, who could blame them for being curious? After all, Enai Yang was so good-looking. After all, everyone loves beauty. Everyone was chattering away, making Li Wei a little irritable. He knew Enai Yang was pretty, but he didn't know Enai Yang was so popular. He felt a strong sense of crisis. Brother away. Zhou Xuemei ran over from a distance, waving excitedly at Li Wei. A male classmate beside him patted Li Wei on the shoulder and teased, Li Wei, you're really popular with the ladies. Li Wei was good at studying, handsome, respected elders, and had reverence for teachers, so he was pretty popular among the young girls. Who knows how many young girls in the class had a crush on Li Wei? Zhou Xuemei, on the other hand, grew up with Li Wei in the same village. Later, because Li Wei moved to the city with his parents, they lost contact. Recently, because Zhou Zuimai's parents also found jobs and bought a house in the city, the two met again. The fact that Zhou Xuemei was able to take this transfer student examination was also thanks to Li Wei's recommendation. Enough with the nonsense, she just grew up with me like a little sister. Li Wei began to explain. But what about that Ni Yang just now? The male student asked again. Li Wei said, she used to be our tenant. Tenant? The male student frowned slightly. Isn't Ni Yang a local? During this period, locals usually look down upon outsiders to some extent. Yes. Li Wei nodded. She used to run a noodle stall. A private business. Hearing this, the disdain in the male student's eyes deepened. A street vendor has the nerve to take the transfer student's exam. Can she even pass? Brother away. During the conversation, Zhou Xuemei had already arrived next to Li Wei. Xuemei. Li Wei replied indifferently. Zhou Xuemei continued, who are you guys talking about just now? Who's a small-scale business owner? Li Wei said, we were talking about Ni Yang, but you don't know her. Ni Yang. So the enemies were on a narrow road. Zhou Xuemei laughed sarcastically. Who says I don't know her? I was in the same examination room with her today. Really? Li Wei was somewhat surprised. Of course. Zhou Xuemei nodded. Li Wei continued, then how did Ni Yang perform in the exam today? Hearing this, Zhou Xuemei's expression became even more disdainful. There were 4 exams in the morning, over 5 hours in total. To exaggerate a bit, she slept for at least 4 hours. Do you think she did well? She slept for over 4 hours? Li Wei was somewhat surprised. Yes. Zhou Xuemei continued, the invigilator looked in her direction countless times, but she didn't react at all. So shameless. In that case, Ni Yang must have blown the exam this time. The heavy stone in Li Wei's heart finally landed. As long as Ni Yang hasn't passed, that's good enough. By the way, Brother Away, how did you get to know Ni Yang? Zhou Xuemei continued to ask. Chapter 394. The results are out. A slap in the face came so fast. _4. Li Wei relayed to Zhou Xuemei that Ni Yang was a self-employed individual. An air of sarcasm hung around Zhou Xuemei's eyes. So that's what Ni Yang is all about. Strutting around so arrogantly. Just a mere self-employed individual. Both her parents were formal workers and they had even bought a house in the city, so Zhou Xuemei naturally looked down on Ni Yang. Furthermore, Ni Yang was an outsider. Brother Away, let me tell you something really interesting. Zhou Xuemei relayed the story of her bet with Ni Yang to Li Wei with a laugh. Hearing this, Li Wei felt a surge of superiority in his heart. In the afternoon, he was still taking 4 exams. By the time the examinations ended, it was already past 6 in the evening. Ni Yang then made a trip to the vegetable market on his bicycle. They were about to start raising the beams soon, so Ni Yang had to prepare everything needed for the beam raising in advance. Beam raising was a major event. Not only did he need to prepare food and wine to treat the guests, but also buy firecrackers, fireworks, and snacks. Ni Yang bought more than 50 pounds of fruit candies and milk candies, 18 pounds of pastries, dates, and peanuts. Then Ni Yang went to buy 20 packs of cigarettes, firecrackers, and fireworks. Finally, Ni Yang bought vegetables and meat. Ni Yang only bought enough pork for eating that day because if he bought more, it could easily spoil due to the weather. After buying all the necessary things, Ni Yang rode back on his bicycle. As soon as he entered the courtyard, Ni Yang heard some snorting sounds. A glance at the side revealed that under the osmanthus tree in the courtyard, a big fat pig was tied up. The little rabbit seemed to be seeing a big fat pig for the first time, running around the pig curiously. Mom, where did this big pig come from? Ni Yang asked Ni Tsuehua. Ni Tsuehua replied, your mom bought it. Ni Yang was taken aback. What did you buy this for? To raise it ourselves? Ni Tsuehua laughed. How could we raise it ourselves? Our house is going to have the beam raising the day after tomorrow, right? I deliberately bought a big fat pig back so that we could have a good feast for our fellow villagers. If not for the villagers from Jinghua village, how could their family have easily gotten the homestead? Ni Tsuehua was not an ungrateful person. She and Ni Yang had always kept this in mind. Ni Yang nodded. Mom, your considerations are indeed comprehensive. Purchasing a big fat pig, along with the pig innards, would not only enable everyone to eat well but also look good when word spread out. Indeed, They had taken care of both behind-the-scenes and upfront efforts. And Young asked further, "Mom, where did you buy this pig?" And Tsuehua replied, "From the next village. Apparently, that family is really having a hard time. They only have a daughter who was cheated and is now pregnant. They don't even have the money to get an abortion. Otherwise, they would not be selling the pig at this time. One must know, at this time, keeping a pig in rural areas is of great importance. Because farmers depend entirely on pig manure and chicken droppings for fertilizers. The annual crop yield depends entirely on how efficient the big fat pig is at excreting. After all, how much chicken droppings can there be? Furthermore, pigs are not picky eaters. Just cut some pig grass and feed it to them, and they can have pork during the new year. A case of killing two birds with one stone." And Young frowned slightly. "Didn't they call the police? What use is it if the man denies it after they call the police? I heard that there's now something that can determine parentage, but the child has to be born first. Which innocent maiden would willingly take this kind of risk? No one would risk their future, so they could only suffer in silence, choosing to abort the child." And Young sighed. And Tsuehua continued, "Now some people are really too cruel. They knew the family was in a hurry to sell their big fat pig, and they managed to haggle the price down to 50 yuan from 210 yuan. Mom, you didn't haggle, did you?" And Young asked. And Tsuehua replied, "We've all been through hard times. Of course I didn't haggle. We should pay what we should. We can't take advantage of people in their time of need." And Tsuehua not only did not haggle, but she even gave an extra 50 yuan. And Young nodded, "Mom, you're right." Time flew and soon it was the next day. Since the beam raising was taking place the next day, and Young began preparing the meals for the beam raising day. And Tsuehua found a butcher to slaughter the big fat pig that afternoon. And Young was in the kitchen making pickled pepper chicken feet. Pickled pepper chicken feet are a delicacy in Sichuan and Chongqing, which hadn't spread to Beijing yet, so people mostly ate chicken feet braised or boiled. First, he cut the chicken feet in half, then boiled them to remove the smell. After that, he added spring onions, ginger, garlic, star anise, and Sichuan peppercorns with liquor and boiled them in water for 10 minutes. Chapter 395. The results are out. A slap in the face came so fast. Underscore 5. After 10 minutes, they were drained and rinsed with cold water, put into a large container, and then the pickled peppers and their juice were added in. The pickled peppers were made by Ni Yang last summer. She used bird's eye chilies, and just uncovering the pickle jar brought forth a tangy, spicy aroma, blended with a slight hint of garlic, making people salivate immediately. Besides adding chopped pickled peppers and pickling juice, Ni Yang also added a chopped lemon. Due to the large quantity of chicken feet, a whole lemon was needed. The pickled chicken feet tasted crunchy and spongy in every bite, with the fragrance and chewiness lingering in the mouth. The spicy and sour taste made people want to swallow their tongue along with each bite, unable to stop eating them. Ni Yang first tasted pickled chicken feet in her previous life, so while making it, she couldn't help but swallow in anticipation. They were simply too delicious. The exam ended yesterday, and today the paper correction began. Over 20 teachers were seated around a large joined table. The only sound was the constant rustle of correcting papers. Suddenly, a short-haired teacher gasped, "Oh my God! This student has every answer correct. Full marks." Her voice instantly grabbed the attention of all the teachers. "Teacher Wu, what subject are you grading?" "English." "English? That's truly astonishing." English had recently been added to the college entrance exam subjects, and the general English level of the people was not high. It was impressive to score between 60 and 70 out of a full marks paper. No one had ever heard of full marks. "Let me see. I want to see too." The teachers who were grading the papers all gathered around Teacher Wu. "Oh my God! This student's handwriting is beautiful. Looking at this writing, I would hate to deduct any marks. Teacher Wu, turn the paper over and let us see the student's name." Ni Yang. What a lovely name. Several teachers exclaimed in awe while surrounding Ni Yang's paper, then they continued grading their papers. Gradually, The office is filled with more gasps. I've just come across Ni Yang too. She got full marks in math as well. In Chinese, 3 points were deducted for the text comprehension, but no other points lost. Full marks in history. Full marks in chemistry. Full marks in biology. Oh my God! This student is amazing. Definitely a star student. This was the first time in many years that the city high school had come across such an impressive student. The teachers grading the papers excitedly reported this to the principal. The principal, holding Ni Yang's paper, his hands were shaking in excitement. He had a vague recollection of Ni Yang. Because this girl was exceptionally beautiful. Initially, he thought such a beautiful girl was probably just for show. Little did he expect that she would surprise him so much. With such excellent grades, getting into a top university was a certainty. She might even become the city's top scorer. If she truly becomes the top scorer, it would not just be her glory, but also the glory of her homeroom teacher, the principal, and the entire school. Actually, there was competition among schools, and these years, the city's top scorer had been grabbed by other high schools in the county. City High School had not been able to show face in a long time. Principal, what class do you plan on putting Ni Yang into? At that, the other teachers neighboring him perked up. Ni Yang was now a hot commodity. What teacher wouldn't like to have an outstanding student? Which teacher wouldn't hope to guide a city top scorer? Guiding a city top scorer would not only mean a reward from the authorities, it also meant an excellent teacher award, and even possibly interviews from television stations. People live their lives for their reputation. Who wouldn't want to become famous? Principal, I think the learning environment in our class is very suitable for Ni Yang. A teacher immediately near him rebutted, I can hear you chattering all the way from the first floor to the third floor where your class is. Teacher Lin, does the learning environment really exist in your class? What do you know? Our class integrates work and rest. Even if our class is noisy, it's still better than yours. Principal, I believe our class is more suitable for Ni Yang. Teacher Zhao, don't dream about Ni Yang. With those delinquents in your class, even if Ni Yang does go to your class, she will probably be held back. A fight broke out between the teachers for the right of Ni Yang to be in their class. Everyone's face was flushed, no one willing to give up. Chapter 396. The results are out. A slap in the face came so fast. _6. Principal Zhao spoke at the right moment. Let's stop arguing. The students will be evenly distributed to each class, except for Ni Yang, who will be assigned by lottery. The homeroom teacher who corrects the tests gets to draw in a luck of the draw. Whichever of you draws Ni Yang, she will join your class. Does anyone still have objections? I don't. I don't either. Once the lottery drawing is in place, what else can be objected? Principal, let's start the draw now. Yes. Let's get started. Everyone was in a hurry. Principal Zhao went on, wait a minute, could one of you fetch teacher Zhang Chang to join the draw? Get Zhang Chang to come over? Zhang Chang isn't even involved in grading the tests. Principal, do we really need to involve Zhang? Principal, isn't this a bit unfair? We were the ones who discovered Ni Yang. How can you invite Zhang Chang? The more people drawing, the less chance we'll have of getting selected. Exactly. Principal Zhao explained, Ni Yang was recommended by Zhang Chang's partner. It would be improper if we didn't invite him, right? If it weren't for Zhang Chang, Ni Yang might not have even considered coming to our school. Especially since our middle school is adjacent to 2 other schools. But Zhang Chang is an odd one. He had such a promising student right in front of him, but instead let her take the exam. If he's lucky enough to draw Ni Yang, that's fine. If he doesn't, he'll probably regret it forever. Since the principal had said so, the teachers, being reasonable people, quickly sent someone to call Zhang Chang. When Teacher Qi arrived at the staff dormitory, Zhang Chang was cooking red-braised fish at home, filling the air with a rich aroma. Zhang, stop cooking. Quickly come with me to the principal's office. What's the matter, Qi? Zhang Chang asked as he turned down the heat. Good news, said Teacher Qi excitedly. A big piece of good news. What good news has got you laughing like this? Xianxia asked curiously. Teacher Qi continued, there's a dark horse among the transfer students from yesterday's test who we think could be the top student in the city. Upon hearing this, Xianxia's spirit rose sharply. Really? Why would I lie about this? Qi laughed. The principal asked me to let you know about the lottery draw. Turn off the stove and let's get going. Would the principal really be that kind? He even asked him to join the lottery draw? Xianxia suspiciously turned off the stove, removed his apron, and followed Teacher Qi out. Qi, what's going on? Why did the principal invite me to the lottery draw? Teacher Qi explained as they walked. This dark horse seems to have some connections with you. Xianxia was confused. What does it have to do with me? Teacher Qi continued. The student's name is Ni Yang. I heard she was recommended by your partner. Upon hearing this, Xianxia was dumbfounded. What? Ni Yang is the dark horse? What's going on here? Is he dreaming? Xianxia pinched his thigh hard. It hurts. So this isn't a dream. Qi continued. Ni Yang is really incredible. She scored full marks in maths, biology, chemistry, English, and history. She made just one mistake in Chinese. Zhang, how could you have not kept such a talented student for yourself? His last sentence was laced with a sense of gloating. He was mocking Xianxia's lack of foresight. He had sacrificed something significant just to maintain his class overall college placement rate. Truly regrettable. He could have had this dark horse for himself, but to his surprise, he had turned her away. One can imagine how Xianxia must be feeling right now. He was really upset. After a while, he asked, Qi, are you joking with me? Is the dark horse really Ni Yang? Is Ni Yang really that talented? Teacher Qi said, why would I joke about something like this? Xianxia continued, could it be another Ni Yang with the same name? Teacher Qi shook his head and laughed. Shouldn't be the case, we've confirmed it. Among this batch of examinees, except for a few people named Chunhua Chiyue, almost none of them have the same name. With that, Teacher Qi added, Zhang, if you really think it's someone else with the same name, you can opt out of the lottery. Opt out? Why would Xianxia do that? No one could resist the honor that the top student brings. Before long, the two arrived at the principal's office. Teacher Zhang, you're here? Principal Zhao smiled at Xianxia. Xianxia smiled back. Principal? No matter what, Ni Yang was someone he introduced. Since she was destined to be in his class, he was bound to win the draw. He was sure he'd win. Xianxia comforted himself. The principal held a handful of crumpled slips of paper. There are 21 slips of paper here. One of them has Ni Yang's name written on it. Whoever draws that piece will become Ni Yang's homeroom teacher. He then put the slips into a box and shook it. Who wants to go first? It seemed a bit unfair to let anyone go first. In the end, the teachers decided to use rock, paper, scissors to determine the order of the draw. 10 minutes later, everyone was holding a small piece of paper. Everyone was apprehensive. Everyone was praying they'd draw the right slip. The principal smiled. Teachers, what are you waiting for? Look at your slips. Upon his words, everyone began to secretly peek at their slips. The next second, a series of sighs swept through the room. Xianxia hadn't dared to look at his slip. Seeing everyone sighing around him, he felt a sense of relief. If they didn't win, then he had to be the winner. Zhang, look quickly. What are you waiting for? Qi urged Xianxia impatiently. Yeah, Zhang, hurry up. Xianxia boasted. Is there a need to look? I'm sure I've won the lottery. Everything happens for a reason. Ni Yang was introduced by me after all. She is destined to be in our class. How could anyone else get her? Just then, an exuberant voice erupted in the room. I won. I won the lottery. Everyone turned their heads to look, and saw the near 50-year-old teacher Su, as excited as a child. And Xianxia's face changed in an instant. His smile froze on his lips. How can this be? You're tuning in to the Wandering Hero YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.